Chapter 1606. Alright, tell me why you're in a bad mood. Yang Ming knew that Zhao Ying wasn't a casual person. It would be difficult for her to accept him through the internet, so Yang Ming decided to take it slow. Being too aggressive wasn't a good thing. Actually, it's nothing. Wild female teacher didn't seem to want to talk about what happened yesterday. Could it be that you saw the person you like with one of your good friends again? Yang Ming saw that Zhao Ying didn't seem to want to talk about it, so he decided to provoke her. After he sent the message, Zhao Ying didn't respond for a long time. Could it be that she was scared by me? Yang Ming couldn't help but feel anxious. However, wild female teacher finally replied, "How did you know?" "I guessed." Yang Ming sent 2 words hypocritically. "That's amazing. I finally know what the Emperor of Truth is." Wild female teacher exclaimed. "It can't be. I just said it casually. You told me last time, so I remembered it. This time, I just casually brought it up." Yang Ming explained. "Actually, I'm not in a bad mood this time. I don't feel as sad as last time. Instead, I feel very natural. It's just that I feel a little disappointed." Wild female teacher said. "Wait a minute. You're saying that your person is with another good friend of yours? What about the previous one?" Yang Ming pretended to be surprised and asked. Of course, they continue to be together. I told you before that he has a few girlfriends." Wild female teacher said. "Is that so? Your person is really a god." Yang Ming laughed and sent the message. "Yang Ming, who are you chatting with so early in the morning?" Sun Jia had woken up. She was holding a cup of hot water and wearing a nightgown. She walked over and stood behind Yang Ming and asked. "Zhao Ying." Yang Ming said. "Oh." Sun Jia nodded casually. Suddenly, she spat out the hot water that she just drank onto Yang Ming's computer screen. "What did you say?" "Zhao Ying?" Yang Ming looked up speechlessly. "Is there a need to make such a fuss? My poor computer, it's probably going to be finished. Isn't it just a laptop? What's the big deal? I'll compensate you later." Sun Jia said indifferently. She leaned over and moved closer to the computer screen. "Let me see what you guys are talking about." "Wow, you've hooked up with her already?" "What hooking up?" "You will know when you see it." Yang Ming didn't hide it and directly transferred the computer screen to Sun Jia. The nightgown was loose. When she lowered her head, all the naked things inside the nightgown were revealed. It made Yang Ming a little restless. He couldn't help but reach out and touch it. "Don't mess around. Wasn't it enough to touch last night?" Sun Jia hit Yang Ming's hand and then pulled her chest tight. But she didn't expect Yang Ming's hand to reach in again from the bottom of the nightgown. Sun Jia really didn't know what to do this time. She glared at Yang Ming and no longer paid attention to him. She looked at the content on the computer screen. The first few words were nothing. The more she looked at Sun Jia's expression, the more interesting it was. In the end, she finally couldn't help but laugh. "Yang Ming, aren't you too talented? Are you playing Infernal Affairs? Zhao Ying still doesn't know that this person is you?" "She probably doesn't know." Yang Ming nodded. "God. Aren't you embarrassed to boast like this?" Sun Jia couldn't help but mock him. "I'm just telling the truth." Yang Ming shrugged. "What do you think I should do now?" "How do I know what to do? Who knows that things between you two are so complicated?" Sun Jia had a headache when she thought of the relationship between Yang Ming and Zhao Ying. It wasn't that Sun Jia didn't want Zhao Ying and Yang Ming to be together, but Zhao Ying's character really made Sun Jia feel like a doe that couldn't be helped. She wouldn't leave even when she was chased, and she would only retreat when she was led. "It's not too complicated. Who knew that you brought her here yesterday?" Yang Ming smiled bitterly. "Then you're blaming me?" Sun Jia rolled her eyes at Yang Ming. However, the words that you and Zhao Ying said on the internet reminded me. I think that with Zhao Ying's character, it is difficult to have any breakthroughs and progress in your current situation. Zhao Ying's character is too indecisive. It's better for you to slowly develop an online relationship with her on the internet. Develop an online relationship? Yang Ming was stunned. Are you serious? Of course, you first get Zhao Ying on the internet, and then ask her to meet, Sun Jie said. Say something on the internet first. When you meet, even if Zhao Ying retreats, the relationship that has been established before can't be changed. Yang Ming listened to Sun Jie's words and fell into contemplation. Sun Jie's method was also a strange one. Maybe it could really achieve unexpected results. Then I'll try. Yang Ming nodded. Aren't you jealous? Jealous? I don't have that free time. I have to go back to Donghai today. The company's affairs have not been completely finished. Tian Donghua, the little guy, couldn't handle it himself. He kept complaining to me, said Sun Jie. Don't care about him. It's time to let him hone himself. He has to endure the hardships to be the best, said Yang Ming. Well, I'll be back in a few days. Besides, you can't accompany me every day, right? Sun Jie touched Yang Ming's forehead. Be good. Sister will bring you a gift back. Then I want an MP4, said Yang Ming. MP4? Sun Jie was stunned, and then she thought of something. Sun Jie, who was rarely shy, blushed this time. The MP4 that Yang Ming said probably referred to the MP4 that had special content when they first met. At that time, Sun Jie just saw that Yang Ming was a virgin and wanted to tease him. But now it seemed that she was seducing Yang Ming. Just kidding. Go early and come back early. Yang Ming smiled. Be careful. Sun Jie nodded. Yang Ming, why do I feel that you are older than me? You are not old, said Yang Ming seriously. Really? But am I really older than you? Sun Jie now regarded herself as a child in front of Yang Ming in many situations. Although this feeling was good, Sun Jie felt that she was pretending to be young. You are not big except for your chest. Yang Ming stood up and hugged Sun Jie's shoulder. Well, don't think so much. I still like you to be more casual. Oh. Sun Jie responded and suddenly pointed at Yang Ming's screen. Zhao Ying is talking to you. Take a look. For Sun Jie's behavior of changing the topic, Yang Ming just smiled slightly and didn't expose it. He opened the chat window of Wild Female Teacher. There is another person in the room. Let's continue. Hey, why don't you show your cards? What are you doing? Why don't you show your cards? Are you there? That person is gone. What are you doing? Not here. I am going to school. There is a class at 10 o'clock. Let's talk next time. Just as Yang Ming and Sun Jie were talking, Wild Female Teacher sent several messages. Yang Ming glanced at the profile picture of Wild Female Teacher. It had turned gray. It seemed that she had gone offline. Sorry, something happened just now. Let's meet next time. Yang Ming replied apologetically. Yang Ming was about to turn off the computer, but a dialog box popped up at the bottom right of the computer. Initially, Yang Ming didn't care about it. After a casual glance, his face became dignified. He quickly clicked on the news with the mouse. Songjiang Mingjiang Escort Company, a cash truck carrying hundreds of millions of banknotes mysteriously disappeared. It is suspected that there was a management oversight and an internal crime. This was a news about the disappearance of the cash truck Lu Xiaolei was in. Yang Ming knew that this Mingjiang Escort Company was a subsidiary company jointly established by his Mingyang Security Company and the Jiangyan Group. He didn't expect such a big thing to happen. Chapter 1607. Hey, isn't this your company? I've heard of it. When it was established a while ago, it was even on TV. Sun Jia also saw the news that Yang Ming opened. She couldn't help but exclaim, "Yang Ming, aren't you too excited? The company was just established, and such a big thing happened. Hundreds of millions of yuan. What's going on?" Yang Ming frowned. He was a little unhappy. Although 100 million yuan was nothing to Yang Ming, he was a little annoyed that no one had informed him about such a big matter after such a long time. The news had already appeared on the internet, but no one had informed him. Isn't the efficiency of my subordinates a little too slow? He took out his phone and was about to call Bao Sanli, but he was shocked to find that the phone had run out of battery and turned off automatically. Could it be that Bao Sanli had already looked for me? Did he find out that my phone was turned off? After changing the battery, Yang Ming turned on the phone and dialed Bao Sanli's number. "Brother Yang." The phone only rang once before it was picked up. Then came Bao Sanli's anxious voice, "Brother Yang, you finally turned on your phone. I have been looking for you all morning. Where are you?" "Didn't you know that I was at the International Hotel?" asked Yang Ming. "International Hotel? Brother Yang, you are at the International Hotel?" "I didn't know." Bao Sanli repeated with some doubts, "I was just nearby. Should I rush over now?" Yang Ming heard Bao Sanli's words and couldn't help but be stunned. He immediately understood that he only asked Bao Sanli to book a private room for a meal at the International Hotel yesterday. He didn't tell Bao Sanli that he would stay here, so it was reasonable that Bao Sanli didn't know that he was here. "I have a general understanding of the matter. It's about the Mingjiang Escort Company, right?" "Yes, Brother Yang, you already know," said Bao Sanli. "It has already become the hot news on the internet. If I still didn't know, then I would be blind." Yang Ming said in a bad mood, "What the hell is going on? How did such a big thing happen? Are there any secrets?" "I don't know if there are any secrets. I just found out about it not long ago. Xiaolu has been in charge of the affairs in Mingjiang," Bao Sanli said. "Okay, I got it. I'll ask little Jia to deal with it," Yang Ming said helplessly. He thought to himself, these people like Bao Sanli are still a little inexperienced in the business world. Previously, Mingyang Entertainment had a vicious incident where the vice president absconded with funds. Now, there are similar mistakes. Isn't this too frequent? "Okay, Brother Yang. I'm sorry," Bao Sanli said carefully. "Forget it, you just need to stabilize the situation. Don't mess up." Yang Ming said, "You must not mess up at this time." "Don't worry, Brother Yang. I know," Bao Sanli promised. "I have already mobilized the security company's people to Mingjiang to prevent our own people from messing up." Sure enough, when Yang Ming was browsing the relevant news, the previous incident of the vice president of Mingyang Entertainment was also linked together by the reporters and dug up. They also ridiculed and questioned Mingyang's management problems. Of course, most of these network reporters were from other places. The local reporters were afraid of Bao Sanli's power. Naturally, they didn't dare to write nonsense. They simply and objectively reported the incident. "Let me deal with it." Sun Jia naturally heard Yang Ming's words. "Jing Xiaolu is alone. I'm afraid I can't handle it." Yang Ming said, "I can rest assured if you take charge." "Jing Xiaolu? I seem to have heard of this name." Sun Jia frowned. "It seems to be the vice president of Mingyang Entertainment. It is said that she is your little lover." "Who did you hear that from?" Yang Ming sweated. He didn't expect Sun Jia to have heard of Jing Xiaolu. Bao Sanli said it. "Who else do I know?" Sun Jia said, "But don't blame Bao Sanli for being nosy. When I asked him something, he was also very embarrassed." "I got it." Yang Ming waved his hand. He wouldn't blame Bao Sanli for such a small matter. As Sun Jia said, when Sun Jia asked Bao Sanli a question, it was really difficult for Bao Sanli to answer or not. However, the number is a bit big. Sun Jia browsed the news again and then said to Yang Ming, "I can deal with it, but you have to give me the authority." Don't think that I can't deal with it when I'm done. Do you think I'm a dictator? Yang Ming shrugged. That depends on when. Sun Jia smiled charmingly. Hey, you have 100 million, right? What do you think? Yang Ming rolled his eyes. I don't, but you don't? Then it's done. Didn't you just lose 100 million? Just give it to the bank first. It won't lose the company's reputation, and it can also stabilize people's hearts. As for whether you can get back that 100 million, it's none of my business. Sun Jia said casually. Yang Ming nodded and agreed with Sun Jia's way of dealing with it. Although he didn't care about the 100 million, the current Yang Ming was worth more than 100 million. However, Yang Ming wouldn't allow some rascals to do anything under his watch. Lu Jianan had already reported Lu Huamei's mistake to the old master Lu Jiangyan through the mouths of others. Although the old master didn't say much, Lu Jianan believed that old master Lu must have started to doubt Lu Huamei's ability from this incident. Lu Huamei might be very good at doing business, but she wasn't Lu Jianan and Lu Jifei's opponent when it came to scheming. Is the 100 million in a safe place? Lu Jianan glanced at Lu Jifei and asked. It's still in the old abandoned factory under your name. It hasn't been touched. Lu Jifei replied respectfully. It wasn't that he didn't think about the money in the warehouse, but after careful consideration, he decided to forget about it. After all, there were many consecutive numbers in this money. It wasn't easy to spend it. Moreover, would Lu Jianan let him go once he touched this money? The most important point was that although Lu Jifei was very greedy and wanted to keep this 100 million, it was obvious that Lu Jianan didn't care much about this 100 million. What he cared about was the entire Jiangyan group. With the Jiangyan group, this 100 million was nothing. Therefore, while Lu Jifei didn't act rashly, he was still pleasing Lu Jianan. He fantasized that one day, when Lu Jianan became the helm of the Jiangyan group, this 100 million might become his reward. At that time, it would be peaceful and wouldn't attract attention if he took it out and used it. Then don't touch it first. Lu Jianan nodded. But this move of yours is quite bad. It is equivalent to directly putting the Mingjiang company into a dead end. This 100 million is nothing to our Jiangyan group, but it is a disaster for that newly established small company. Jifei, do you still have selfish motives? Brother Nan is wise. Lu Jifei didn't dare to hide. I do have a grudge with the behind-the-scenes boss of the Mingyang company, Yang Ming. I also want to take the opportunity to mess with Jing Xiaolu and Su Xiaobin, those two bitches. N. Lu Jianan nodded in satisfaction at Lu Jifei's honesty. He had already investigated these things in advance. He asked at this time to test if Lu Jifei was hiding anything from him. Remember, you have to be consistent with me in the general direction. As for your little thoughts, I don't want to care. Lu Jianan nodded in satisfaction at Lu Jifei's honesty. Brother Nan, you can rest assured. I am wholeheartedly working with you. Lu Jifei quickly promised. N, look at the news. How is Mingjiang? Lu Jianan sneered and instructed Lu Jifei, the reporters we sent to cause trouble should have already arrived at Mingjiang's office building. Okay. Lu Jifei nodded, turned on the TV, and changed the channel to Songjiang's finance channel. The Mingjiang group will hold a press conference at 9:00 sharp today. This channel will broadcast the whole thing live for you. The host's voice came from the TV. A press conference? Lu Jianan heard the content of the news and smiled contemptuously. I was afraid that you would avoid it. If you hold a press conference, it will save me some trouble. When the time comes, see if the reporters I find won't question you to death. Lu Huamei, you have no choice but to die. Chapter 1608. After Lu Huamei and Jing Xiaolu discussed it, they decided to hold a press conference first to appease the reporters downstairs. If they asked the company's employees casually, the answers they would get would be even more varied. Coupled with these people's imaginations, who knew what would happen in the end? Jing Xiaolu couldn't help but want to call Yang Ming a few times, but she held back in the end. From the moment she made up her mind not to be a pretty face, she wanted to show some results to Yang Ming. However, this year was unlucky. Someone tampered with the contract negotiations previously, and it wasn't easy to calm the storm. Now, something like this happened again. It really made Jing Xiaolu anxious. The phone rang. Jing Xiaolu glanced at the caller ID. It was Bao Sanli, Brother Bao. Xiaolu, Brother Yang already knows about the situation here and has sent people over. You guys can hold on for a while and wait for them to arrive. Bao Sanli was afraid that Jing Xiaolu couldn't handle the pressure, so he gave her a call in advance to cheer her up. Phew. Jing Xiaolu breathed a sigh of relief. However, she still felt a little uncomfortable in her heart. Since Yang Ming took action, the trouble on her side would definitely decrease. However, was this really the result she wanted? Xiaolu, what's wrong? Looking at your expression, it seems like there's some good news. Lu Huamei was also very anxious at this moment. Although Ming Yang was the major shareholder according to the contract, Lu Huamei couldn't escape if the company really suffered a loss. The most important problem was that the Jiangyan Group's headquarters attitude was very ambiguous and unclear. Lu Huamei called her grandfather, but she didn't expect her grandfather to just say, "I understand," faintly after listening to Lu Huamei's description. He didn't say anything else. Grandfather Lu's attitude made the entire Jiangyan Group wait and see. Although Ming Jiang was also a joint venture company of the Jiangyan Group, no one stood out to express their support for Ming Jiang. Yang Ming sent people over to solve the problem. Jing Xiaolu said with a complicated expression. Yang Ming. It's Yang Ming again. Who is this person? Lu Huamei muttered in her heart, but said, let's go. We'll go to the conference room first. The reporters were all invited to the conference room. It was agreed that the meeting would be held at 9 o'clock. Regardless of whether the person on Jing Xiaolu's side could come or not, they had to deal with the current situation first. Jing Xiaolu and Lu Huamei walked into the noisy conference room. The voices of the reporters who were discussing with each other became softer. The conference room only quieted down when Jing Xiaolu and Lu Huamei sat on the rostrum. All right, before the press conference, please allow me to introduce myself. I am Lu Huamei, the Executive Vice President of the Ming Jiang Escort Company. This is Jing Xiaolu, also the Executive Vice President. Lu Huamei said, this press conference was decided to be held at the last minute, so it wasn't fully prepared. Although it's called a press conference, it's actually just a question and answer session. This is because we didn't get any accurate information after the incident. The police are still investigating everything. Like all of you, I don't know anything about this matter. Lu Huamei let out a sigh of relief after she finished speaking. The reason why she said these things in advance was that she was afraid that the reporters would pester her with these questions. It's great now. We don't know anything either. So when you ask questions that we can answer. Lu Huamei's words stunned the reporters who were ready to launch an attack. Many of the words that were on the tip of their tongues couldn't be said. The atmosphere suddenly became cold. Vice President Lu, the Ming Jiang Company has made such a big mistake this time. As one of the parent companies, what will the Jiangyan Group's attitude be? This reporter was arranged by Lu Jinan. He originally wanted to wait for the others to ask questions first before standing up to ask. However, Lu Huamei's words completely pushed away the questions that the reporters wanted to know the most. For a moment, no one stood up to ask questions. It should be known that most of the reporters here were here to find out the inside story, not to make things difficult for Lu Huamei. Since Lu Huamei didn't know anything like them, why were they still here? No matter if what Lu Huamei said was true or false, they couldn't do anything when she said that the police had to keep the case confidential. Lu Huamei glanced at the reporter who asked the question. It was a new face that she had never seen before. She stopped guessing his identity and answered directly, although the Ming Jiang Escort Company is a new joint venture company established by the Jiangyan Group and the Ming Yang Security Company, as I said before, this is a new company. Although the Jiangyan Group owns the shares, our operations are independent. Lu Huamei didn't know if the reporter could understand her explanation. All in all, Lu Huamei was secretly afraid. It seemed that many of these reporters were here for her. She wouldn't believe that all of this had nothing to do with her elder brother. So that's the case. Then, the Mingjiang Escort Company lost hundreds of millions of yuan this time, and their whereabouts are unknown. How will Mingjiang fill this loophole? The reporter continued to ask. As far as I know, Mingjiang's new company doesn't have many assets. If the Jiangyan Group behind it doesn't show up, how will you deal with it? Lu Huamei was more and more certain that her elder brother sent this reporter here to make things difficult for her after listening to the reporter's unhurried words. How we fill this loophole is our company's internal matter. This isn't the content of this press conference, right? Lu Huamei was still worried about how to fill this loophole, so she could only deal with it this way. I heard that Vice President Lu is still holding the position of the Jiangyan Group's financial director. With Vice President Lu's position, it shouldn't be difficult for him to mobilize the Jiangyan Group's funds to fill this loophole, right? Another reporter began to ask, is it really like what the outside world said? Vice President Lu was promoted on the surface but demoted on the inside. Although he is the group's financial director, all of his power has been taken away. It is said that Vice President Lu was one of the most competitive successors of the Jiangyan Group. This time, there was such a big mistake. Will this successor position be excluded? What does the Jiangyan Group's old master Lu think about this matter? The Jiangyan Group hasn't made any response yet. Does this mean that the Jiangyan Group has given up on the Mingjiang Escort Company? Is there some hidden meaning in this? Does this mean that Vice President Lu has also been given up? Can the Mingjiang Escort Company survive this disaster without the support of the Jiangyan Group? Lu Huamei couldn't respond to the sharp questions that were thrown at her one after another. Lu Huamei finally realized how insidious her elder brother was. He actually took this opportunity to attack her. Jing Xiaolu was also secretly anxious when she saw that Lu Huamei was troubled by the reporter's questions. If this goes on, this press conference will definitely be a mess. Jing Xiaolu couldn't care so much anymore. She grabbed the microphone and said to the reporters below, "Everyone, please be quiet for a while." Seeing that Jing Xiaolu had spoken, the aggressive reporters reluctantly stopped their questions. However, they still had an expression of wanting to get to the bottom of it. This is the Mingjiang Escort Company's press conference, not the Jiangyan Group's press conference. Moreover, everyone, don't put the cart before the horse. Yes, the Jiangyan Group is one of the shareholders of the Mingjiang Escort Company, but the Mingyang Company is the biggest shareholder of the Mingjiang Escort Company. We are also the ones who play the leading role in the operation. Therefore, Miss Lu Huamei can refuse to answer your questions. Jing Xiaolu said, "If you really want to know about the Jiangyan Group, I suggest you interview the Jiangyan Group." Okay. Since you said so, how does the Mingyang Company intend to deal with this matter? The reporter who asked the question first was unhappy with Jing Xiaolu's interruption. Therefore, he targeted Jing Xiaolu again. Anyway, he was here to cause trouble today. It would be fine as long as he could mess up this press conference in the end. Chapter 1609. Jing Xiaolu didn't expect this guy to be so difficult to deal with. She had just changed the topic, and he was already targeting her. The person in charge of our Mingyang Company has already rushed over. I believe he will be here soon. Jing Xiaolu thought of what Bao Sanli had said to her before, so she said calmly, "Don't tell me that everyone doesn't even have this little bit of patience." Jing Xiaolu spoke at a steady pace with a smile on her face, giving people a natural affinity. Therefore, even if some of the people below were unwilling, they couldn't do anything at this moment because most of the peers nodded in agreement with Jing Xiaolu's statement. They came here to seek the truth and to seek first-hand reports, not to chase after someone who couldn't make the decision. In their opinion, since Jing Xiaolu said that the person in charge had rushed over, Jing Xiaolu naturally had no right to make the decision. Instead of asking Jing Xiaolu some useless questions, they might as well wait for the person who could actually make the decision. At the Jiangyan Group's headquarters, Lu Jinan and Lu Jifei watched the Mingjiang Escort Company's news report live and drank tea with relish. Why is this little girl with the surname Jing taking the lead? Lu Jinan was a little annoyed. She should have embarrassed Lu Huamei more. Grandpa must be watching the live broadcast. His impression of Lu Huamei won't be reduced by just a little bit. It doesn't matter. Let her be proud. Lu Jifei waved his hand indifferently. This time, I just want to play Jing Xiaolu to death. I have also checked the background of the Mingyang Group. They only have 100 million in liquid capital in their hands. If they use all of it to fill the hole this time, then their capital chain will be broken instantly, and the entire group won't be far from bankruptcy. Really? That's great, Lu Jinan nodded. Lu Jinan nodded. I really want to see my good sister begging the old man to clean up her mess at the board meeting. I feel so good just thinking about it. The old man will clean up her mess. Lu Jifei was stunned after hearing Lu Jinan's words and asked. That's for sure. Lu Jinan waved his hand and said, Lu Huamei is a member of the Lu family no matter what. How can the old man ignore such a prideful person? However, my good sister can forget about being put in an important position in the future. Isn't that what we want? Lu Jifei quickly said after listening, then, I have to congratulate Brother Nan. You played a big part in this matter as well. Lu Jinan patted Lu Jifei's shoulder and said, Don't worry. I won't treat you badly. If there is a chance, I will suggest to the old man to arrange a position for you in the group. That won't be necessary. Lu Jifei refused. Brother Nan, don't go against the old man for me. It's not worth it. Moreover, isn't it good for me to do something behind your back? Well, that's true. It's fine as long as you can accept it. Lu Jinan nodded. Call those reporters. Tell them not to waste any more time and to continue making things difficult for Lu Huamei. Yes. Lu Jifei quickly picked up his phone, dialed the numbers of those reporters, and gave them a few instructions. At the press conference, the reporter who made things difficult for Lu Huamei stood up restlessly again. Vice President Jing, we have been waiting for a long time, but your so-called person still hasn't arrived. I think we should ask Vice President Lu about the Jiangyan Group's attitude first, right? Even if the person in charge comes, he can only represent your Mingyang company. He can't represent the Jiangyan Group, right? That's right. We want to continue asking questions. Another reporter who received Lu Jifei's instructions also stood up. For a moment, the atmosphere at the press conference became chaotic again. Some people began to get restless. Lu Huamei frowned and glanced at Jing Xiaolu with a helpless expression. How could Lu Huamei not know what these people wanted to do? Wasn't it because her elder brother wanted her to make a fool of herself more? The more she made a fool of herself today, the slimmer her chances of competing for the group's successor would be in the future. At this moment, the door of the conference room was pushed open. A graceful figure walked in slowly. Many of the reporters present widened their eyes when they saw the person who came in. It was impossible for them not to recognize the person who came in. Sun Jia was the princess of the Hongjun Group, the largest company in the provincial capital, Donghai. She was the current president of the group. Even if they hadn't seen her in person, they knew Sun Jia's identity after being reminded by their peers. Due to Donghai's special status in the province, the reporters who were invited by Lu Jinan to ruin the press conference could ignore Song Jiang's Bao Sanli. However, they didn't dare to offend Donghai's Sun family. Although the Sun family had the intention of retiring from the world since the beginning of this year, and the whereabouts of the Sun family's old master and the Tian family's old master were unknown. It was said that they went abroad for inspection. However, the family's affairs were managed by their second-generation children. The current helmsman of the Sun family was Sun Jia other than Sun San, while Tian Donghua was in charge of the Tian family. These reporters knew that the Sun family and the Tian family had been operating in Donghai for more than 10 years. Their complicated network and influence in the province were not people they could afford to offend. Compared to Bao Sanli, the Sun family only had a little influence in Songjiang. They were nothing outside of Songjiang. This was also the main reason why these reporters dared to be arrogant here. The reporter who had previously made things difficult for Lu Huamei was about to continue making things difficult. However, he couldn't help but shrink his neck when he saw Sun Jia coming in. He really couldn't afford to offend this woman. It was better to see her intentions first. Vice President Jing Xiaolu, right? Sun Jia didn't care about the reporter's discussions and surprised gazes. She walked directly to the rostrum, glanced at Jing Xiaolu, and nodded to her with a smile. Yes, you are. It was Jing Xiaolu's first time seeing Sun Jia. She was considered an old employee of the Ming Yang Company, but she had never seen Sun Jia before. Therefore, she was a little confused. I am Yang Ming's wife. Sun Jia smiled at Jing Xiaolu naturally. Ah. Jing Xiaolu was shocked. Her face couldn't help but turn red. Yang Ming's wife is here. Is she here to settle accounts with me? For a moment, Jing Xiaolu's thoughts turned into whether Sun Jia would find trouble with her. As for the company's troubles in front of her, she had completely forgotten about it. Let's talk about it after the press conference. Sun Jia glanced at Jing Xiaolu. It seems that Yang Ming really cares about you, his little lover. He hurriedly woke me up from my bed early in the morning and rushed here to help you. Ah. Jing Xiaolu was a little dumbfounded. After Sun Jia finished speaking, she no longer cared about Jing Xiaolu. Instead, she took the microphone, turned on the switch, and placed it in front of her. I believe that many of you know me. However, let me introduce myself first. I am Sun Jia, the president of the Donghai Hongjun Group. I am also the Ming Yang Group's. The assistant to the chairman. Wow. The people present were in an uproar after hearing Sun Jia's self-introduction. It was nothing when Sun Jia introduced her as the president of the Hongjun Group. Sun Hongjun had appointed Sun Jia as the president a month ago. This was no longer news. However, it was the first time they heard that Sun Jia was the assistant to the chairman of the Ming Yang Group. Was there any relationship between the Ming Yang Group and the Hongjun Group? Sun Jia's appearance and her short self-introduction suddenly changed the atmosphere of the scene. Those who originally thought that the Ming Jiang Escort Company would definitely be finished this time completely changed their thoughts with Sun Jia's words. With the support of Sun Jia's Hongjun Group, what obstacles could not be overcome? What problems could not be solved? Perhaps, the people present don't know much about the Ming Yang Group, so I will briefly explain the structure of the Ming Yang Group today. This is also the first time that the people of the Ming Yang Group have made a detailed explanation in public. Sun Jia waited for the people to calm down before she slowly said. Sun Jia's words once again caused an uproar among the reporters present. Previously, when Sun Jia mentioned the Ming Yang Group, most people thought that Sun Jia had said something wrong. She had mistakenly said that the Ming Yang Company was the Ming Yang Group. A group, as the name suggested, was a group. In layman's terms, it was a company with diversified management. It had subsidiaries in many fields, and when the parent companies gathered together, it formed a group enterprise. The Ming Yang Security Company only had one joint venture subsidiary, the Ming Jiang Escort Company. It was too much of a stretch to call it a group. Under the Ming Yang Group, there is Ming Yang Entertainment. I believe that some people have already understood the relationship between the Ming Yang Security Company and Ming Yang Entertainment. There are also Ming Yang Real Estate, the Nightless Club, and the Songjiang International Hotel. However, I believe that everyone is familiar with the most famous wholly owned subsidiary. That is Ming Yang Heavy Industry. Sun Jia slowly introduced. Chapter 1610. Sun Jia didn't give up until she said something shocking. Ming Yang Heavy Industry. When the name of this company came out, the reporters below were dumbfounded. Ming Yang Heavy Industry and Ming Yang Security Company are also brother companies? They are also under the same group? Is this true? In fact, there were many companies with the same name or similar names. It was not a strange thing. Therefore, although Mingyang Heavy Industry and Mingyang Security Company were both called Mingyang, no one would link the two companies together, and no one would think that there would be any unusual relationship between the two. With Sun Jie's introduction at this time, everyone finally understood what kind of powerful background the Mingyang Security Company had. Not to mention that Sun Jie's Hongjun Group was behind it, it was very easy for a Mingyang Heavy Industry to fill this 100 million yuan hole. Fuck. Lu Zhinan listened to Sun Jie's words and smashed the teacup on the TV. Previously, when Lu Zhinan saw Sun Jie appear at the venue, he secretly felt that something was wrong. He naturally knew Sun Jie. She was the little princess of Donghai. Her background was not weaker than his. Even his family's old man, Lu Jiangyan, was a peer when he met Sun Jie's father. If they were to really call each other, he was still Sun Jie's junior. When he heard Sun Jie say that she was the assistant to the chairman of the Mingyang Group, this bad feeling was even stronger. Is Sun Jie here to stand up for the Mingyang Company? However, when he heard that Mingyang Heavy Industry, which was in the limelight in the province, was also a wholly owned subsidiary of the Mingyang Group, this time he was completely dumbfounded. Why does this Mingyang Security Company have such a strong background? It can't be, right? Am I dreaming? Didn't I want to trick them with Lu Jifei before? This background is not weaker than the Jiangyan Group at all, and it is even stronger. Lu Jifei. Didn't you fucking say it already? You have already investigated the background of Mingyang Security Company? What the fuck is going on? Lu Zhinan was angry. This time he was really angry. Why is there a Mingyang Group above this Mingyang Security Company? This. Lu Jifei was also dumbfounded. I went to the Industry and Commerce Bureau to check before. Mingyang Security Company was funded by a person named Bao Sanli. Why is there a group above? You idiot. Just because the legal person is different doesn't mean that they don't have the support of the parent company. Lu Zhinan said angrily, this time, we are in big trouble. Yang, brother Nan, don't be angry. Even if the Ming Security Company has such a background, it has nothing to do with you. What do you mean? Lu Zhinan asked. Brother Nan, even you don't care much about 100 million yuan. Do you think that the old man cares about this 100 million yuan? Lu Jifei said, so, it doesn't matter whether the old man gave this 100 million yuan. What's important is that Lu Huamei has already made a big mistake. Even if the matter is settled, the problem of her ability is already very obvious. Does it still matter whether the old man gives this 100 million yuan or not? Oh. What you said makes sense. Lu Zhinan nodded after listening to Lu Jifei's analysis. She still got away with it. Brother Nan, in this situation, it doesn't matter whether it got away with it or not. I think it's time for us to perform. Lu Jifei hesitated and said. Our performance? What performance? Do you have any other tricks up your sleeve? The other party's background is not weak. We shouldn't act rashly for a while. Lu Zhinan said with a frown. It's not a trick up our sleeve. It's time for our Jiangyan Group to make a statement. Since the other party has already made a statement, our people can't fall behind. Lu Jifei said, Brother Nan, you should also stand up now and make a statement to support Lu Huamei. Help her bear the responsibility of our Jiangyan Group's shares. Oh. Lu Zhinan thought carefully, then slapped his thigh and exclaimed, Brilliant. What a brilliant plan. Jifei, you're very timely in hindsight. Since Lu Huamei's crisis has been resolved, why don't I be a good person and let the old man see how tolerant I am? That's what I mean. Lu Jifei nodded. So, at the same time that the Mingjiang Escort Company held a press conference in Songjiang, the executive vice president of the Jiangyan Group, Lu Zhinan, suddenly announced to the media that he was willing to pay a portion of the 100 million yuan that the Mingjiang Escort Company had lost. Regardless of whether the lost 100 million yuan could be recovered, the the Jiangyan Group would help the company get through the crisis. At the Mingjiang Escort Company's press conference, Lu Huamei immediately received Lu Zhenan's message and his decision. Lu Huamei snorted coldly in her heart. My big brother really knows how to put on a show. He really knows how to choose the right time. He only came out and pretended to be a good person after seeing that we've gotten through the crisis. However, Lu Huamei still politely replied to his message and thanked him. This bitch. It seems that she also realized something. Lu Zhenan fiercely pressed the delete button when he saw Lu Huamei's message with hidden daggers in it. Brother Nan, what's the big deal about Lu Huamei not realizing it? It's fine as long as the old man is sure of you, Lu Jifei smiled indifferently. That's true. Lu Zhenan nodded. He remembered that after he announced the Jiangyan Group's attitude, his grandfather had especially called to give him a few words of encouragement. This made Lu Zhenan feel very good. He felt that the position of chairman was waving at him. I believe that after everyone knows about the structure of the Mingyang Group, you won't ask meaningless questions like how the Mingjiang Escort Company will get through the difficult times, right? Sun Jia shrugged and smiled charmingly. Most of the reporters below the stage were men. They were instantly infatuated with Sun Jia's smile and nodded in agreement. The few reporters who were hired by Lu Zhenan to cause trouble were afraid of the power behind Sun Jia and the power of the Mingyang Group. They didn't dare to say anything. All right, since everyone has no questions, our press conference will end here, Sun Jia said. Sun Jia said, lastly, I want to say that although the Mingjiang Escort Company is a newly established company, it has the backing of the Hongjun Group, the Mingyang Group, and the Jiangyan Group. It will definitely become stronger and bigger. We will first take out 100 million yuan to make up for the loss of the bank. Then, we will cooperate with the police to find the whereabouts of the missing cash truck. The reporters present were very satisfied with Sun Jia's words. The breaking news they received today was no less than the inside story of the missing cash truck. In fact, it was even more. They knew some of the structure of the Mingyang Group and the relationship between the Hongjun Group and the Mingyang Group. This news was enough to report back. Phew. Jing Xiaolu and Lu Huamei finally breathed a sigh of relief as they watched the reporters leave. Sun Jia, on the other hand, was very generous and didn't look strange at all. Sun Jia looked at Jing Xiaolu. She is a beauty. Yang Ming's taste is not bad. She looked at Lu Huamei. She felt like a classical beauty. Chapter 1611. You're also Yang Ming's lover? Sun Jia looked at Lu Huamei from head to toe. She felt that it would be intolerable if Yang Ming let go of such a classic beauty like Lu Huamei. Me? Lu Huamei was stunned and looked at Sun Jia blankly. Although Lu Huamei was usually ostracized in the Lu family, no one dared to joke with her when it came to relationships. The old man would definitely not feel good if he found out about this kind of thing that crossed his bottom line. Lu Huamei, on the other hand, began to replace her father after she quit school. She worked hard in the Jiangyan Group and schemed against Lu Zhenan. How would she have time to have a boyfriend? Therefore, she was still in a completely blank state when it came to relationships. Usually, no one would mention such a topic to her. At home, her mother served by her father's bedside all day long. She didn't have many chances to meet Lu Huamei. Although most of the people in the group were from the Lu family, how many of them really cared about Lu Huamei's personal affairs? Perhaps even the old man didn't want Lu Huamei to get married so soon. Firstly, it was because Lu Huamei could serve the Lu family for a few more years. Secondly, it was because Lu Huamei's marriage could be used as a bargaining chip in the business. Therefore, Lu Huamei was dumbfounded when Sun Jia asked such a sensitive question. Even though she was talented in business, she was still a blank when it came to relationships. She really didn't know what to say after being teased by Sun Jia. Sun Jia was slightly stunned after seeing Lu Huamei's reaction. You're not? I'm not either. Jing Xiaolu answered Sun Jia's question without waiting for Lu Huamei to answer. I know you. It's just that you're ambiguous and not completely together. Sun Jia glanced at Jing Xiaolu and said. Ah. Jing Xiaolu blushed at Sun Jia's words. This, you even know this? Sun Jia was quite proud when she saw Jing Xiaolu's embarrassed look. She then looked at Lu Huamei. Don't tell me you also have such a relationship. Me? Lu Huamei finally recovered from her shock and shook her head. You got it wrong. I don't know Yang Ming. We haven't even met before. Oh. Sun Jia carefully looked at Lu Huamei's expression. It didn't seem like she was lying. Sun Jia then apologized. I'm sorry, I got it wrong. It's nothing. Lu Huamei shook her head. After all, Sun Jia had helped her and the company out of trouble. Even if Sun Jia made fun of her, it was just a harmless joke. How could Lu Huamei really be angry? She was a little son. Lu Huamei naturally knew who Sun Jia was. Although she hadn't been in the business world for a long time, Lu Huamei had heard a lot about Sun Jia, a famous person in the province. However, she was amazed by Sun Jia's generosity and indifference towards Jing Xiaolu. Jing Xiaolu was distracted by the company's matters. She didn't have time to think about Sun Jia's words and subconsciously believed Sun Jia. But now that she thought about it carefully, something was wrong. Isn't Yang Ming's wife Chen Mengyan? How did it become Sun Jia? Jing Xiaolu wasn't a pushover. Although she was grateful to Sun Jia for helping her out, she couldn't be vague about her principles. She had to be sure of it. No matter what, I'm Chen Mengyan's good friend now. How come I've never heard of Sun Jia's existence? Could it be that Yang Ming has another woman on the outside? I have to grasp this opportunity. No matter what, I'm a member of Chen Mengyan's camp. I can't be biased towards an outsider. It's not a good thing to have a foot in two boats. Miss Sun Jia, although I'm very grateful to you for helping our company solve our current problems, there are some principles that I have to figure out. Jing Xiaolu pondered for a moment and asked. Oh. Sun Jia glanced at Jing Xiaolu with some surprise. She didn't expect Jing Xiaolu to become so calm after a short period of shyness. She was a powerful person. As far as I know, Yang Ming's wife is Chen Mengyan, right? So, who are you? Jing Xiaolu asked word by word. Although there was some aggressive meaning, she was very polite. Hee. Sun Jia listened to Jing Xiaolu's question and laughed. Is this what you want to ask? Then I'll tell you. I'm his other wife. I don't know if you are satisfied with this answer. Ah. Jing Xiaolu didn't expect Sun Jia to have such a reaction. Originally, she expected that Sun Jia would either be ashamed by her own question or argue with her angrily, but she didn't expect Sun Jia to be so relaxed and joking. It seems that you wanted to stand up for Chen Mengyan before? Sun Jia blinked and guessed Jing Xiaolu's thoughts. Don't rush to deny it. I don't mean to blame you. After all, we didn't know each other before. Jing Xiaolu really didn't know what to say because of Sun Jia's calmness. Jing Xiaolu couldn't help but admire Sun Jia from the bottom of her heart. This woman is not simple. No matter what the occasion, she is neither servile nor overbearing. Such a woman is a good helper by Yang Ming's side. The current Chen Mengyan can't be compared to her at all. She had to say that a woman like Sun Jia was what she had always wanted to be. However, you are actually the vice president of Ming Jiang and also the vice president of Ming Yang Entertainment and Ming Yang Security. This makes me very puzzled. Do you like to work? Sun Jia's observation was still very sharp. She saw Jing Xiaolu's weakness immediately, so she was ready to start from her weakness. Although Sun Jia didn't want to have any conflict or anxiety with Chen Mengyan, in Sun Jia's eyes, Chen Mengyan was still a little girl who hadn't grown up. The two of them tried not to meet as much as possible. They each had their own lives and didn't interfere with each other. However, since Zhao Ying's involvement yesterday, Sun Jia had to consider a series of problems derived from facing Chen Mengyan in the future. There was no intersection between Sun Jie and Chen Mengyan. However, with the addition of Zhao Ying as a link, it indirectly increased the danger of the two sides meeting. Zhao Ying was Chen Mengyan's teacher and her good friend. Especially when she knew about Chen Mengyan's temper, Sun Jie had to take some precautions. After seeing Jing Xiaolu, Sun Jie had the idea of pulling her into her camp. Even if she couldn't succeed immediately, she could be a little spy by Chen Mengyan's side. In the worst case, she wouldn't help either side in the end, which basically achieved the result Sun Jie wanted. Jing Xiaolu pursed her lips and vaguely guessed Sun Jie's intention. She couldn't help but hesitate. She naturally couldn't do something to betray Chen Mengyan. Not to mention that she wasn't Yang Ming's girlfriend. Even if she was, she wouldn't do such a wicked spy thing. However, she couldn't bear to lose the opportunity to learn from Sun Jie. It seems that it's easy to talk to a smart woman. Sun Jie saw that Jing Xiaolu understood her meaning and smiled slightly. She didn't need to explain anything more. I still lack an assistant. Are you interested? It's not necessary. It's good here now. It's also good training. Jing Xiaolu struggled for a long time in her heart. Finally, she made a decision and refused Sun Jie's temptation. Although she would grow faster if she followed Sun Jie, was that still her original intention? She originally wanted to be able to take charge alone, help Yang Ming deal with some things, and reduce some of the burden for Yang Ming. However, if she really went against Chen Mengyan with Sun Jie, wouldn't she be looking for trouble for Yang Ming? Sun Jie didn't say anything, but Jing Xiaolu faintly guessed her thoughts. It should be close to the mark. It was better for her not to participate in this kind of thing. Oh. Then forget it. Sun Jie was just thinking about it on the spur of the moment. Seeing that Jing Xiaolu could still control herself, she didn't say anything else. You are really good training here. There are troubles all the time. Sun Jie's slightly sarcastic words made Jing Xiaolu blush a little, but she couldn't blame her. Ming Jiang was indeed not smooth from the beginning. If there is any trouble, just call me at any time. Sun Jie handed a business card to Jing Xiaolu. I understand your thoughts. I won't make it difficult for you. In fact, I don't want such a day to come. Chapter 16-12. Sun Jie's words made Jing Xiaolu slightly stunned. Originally, she thought that Sun Jie wanted to win her over to go against Chen Mengyan, but listening to Sun Jie's last casual sentence, it seemed that she didn't want to do so. Could it be that there is something that I don't know about, but it is forced to happen? Jing Xiaolu had an ominous premonition in her heart. Sun Jie knows Chen Mengyan, but Chen Mengyan doesn't know about Sun Jie's existence. With Chen Mengyan's temperament, if she knew about this, what kind of reaction would she have? It had to be said that a woman's sixth sense was still very keen. A conspiracy against Yang Ming and all his women was slowly unfolding. Yang Ming also watched the live broadcast of the press conference on TV and sighed secretly. Sun Jie was really dishonest. She actually revealed such an inside story, but it also successfully diverted the attention of the reporters and successfully resolved the company's crisis this time. Shaking his head, although most people might not have noticed, the moment Sun Jie went on stage, she turned off the microphone and whispered to Jing Xiaolu. Others didn't hear it, but Yang Ming, who could read lips, saw it clearly. This kind of small detail, I am afraid that only Yang Ming would pay attention to it, but he wasn't worried that others would know anything. She gave Jing Xiaolu a warning as soon as she went up. This Sun Jie. Yang Ming shook his head. Sun Jie's unwillingness to be under others really gave Yang Ming some headaches. This was also the reason why Yang Ming had not told Chen Mengyan about Sun Jie, because Yang Ming was really afraid that something disharmonious would happen in his family. The phone rang. Yang Ming thought it was Sun Jie, but when he looked at the phone number, it was Xia Bingbao. Brother Bingbao, why are you here? I was just looking for you. Yang Ming picked up the phone and said casually. Brother Bingbao? What Brother Bingbao? Don't call me that. Xia Bingbao didn't know whether to laugh or cry. You can either call me Brother Xia or Captain Xia. Don't say these messy names. Oh, then Brother Xia it is. The reason why I joined you guys now is because I want to help. I don't have the sense of being superior or subordinate, Yang Ming said. So, Captain Xia, forget about it. All right, as you wish. Xia Bingbao said, I have already asked about the matter you told me last time. Don't worry. Xia Wenjin and others are basically more than 10 years old. 10 years. That's a little short, but it doesn't matter, Yang Ming said faintly. If Yang Ming wanted to kill a few people, he could do so with a single thought. If the king of assassins' disciple wanted to kill someone, who would be able to live well? Second generation of the fishman. Don't mess around and ask me to wipe your ass again. Xia Bingbao warned after listening to Yang Ming's words. I won't do it. I have a good relationship with the people of the butterfly family. This is not a secret. I believe you all know it. The matter between Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan was a big deal in Europe a while ago. Yang Ming's whereabouts were not a secret in the eyes of people like Xia Bingbao. Yang Ming didn't mind that Xia Bingbao would know more about him now. It didn't matter as long as there was no practical evidence. He could completely deny it. Hee hee. Xia Bingbao laughed dryly. It seemed that he knew something about Yang Ming's relationship with the assassin organization, as Yang Ming said. Well, don't give me any trouble. Xia Bingbao reminded, also, the matter of you going to Yunnan's Miaojiang has been settled. This operation is very dangerous. In addition to using you as a trump card, we will also send someone to assist you. This person is also a trump card in our hands. He is currently training in California in the United States. After a while, he will arrive in Songjiang and meet you. Then, you, Xia Shui, and he will go to Yunnan together. Wait, you said Xia Shui is going too? Yang Ming frowned. What is she going to do in such a dangerous place? This, cough cough. Xia Bingbao coughed twice. It's an arrangement from above, to let her experience it, above? Yang Ming was stunned. Cough cough. It's my boss. Xia Bingbao explained awkwardly. Your boss? Let her experience it? You are not in the same system, right? Yang Ming was inexplicable by Xia Bingbao. Actually, my grandfather is also Xia Shui's, said Xia Bingbao. Yang Ming was a little speechless. It turned out to be such a relationship. I knew that Xia Shui's background was not simple. It turned out that she had such a backer. Could it be that Xia Shui's grandfather is in charge of this supernatural investigation bureau? Well, I know that you have a good relationship with my sister. Take care of her along the way, said Xia Bingbao. Although I don't want her to go, there is no other way. I don't have the final say. Damn, you are just finding trouble for me. Yang Ming said helplessly, don't you know how dangerous Elder Yu is? If I go, I might just be going to die. Why are you so unconfident? Since you can handle Elder Yu the first time, you can handle him the second time. Moreover, this time I have received the latest news. It is a very important news, said Xia Bingbao. Oh? What news? Asked Yang Ming. Before the famous Chinese medicine practitioner, Mr. Li Sifang, disappeared 3 years ago, a student reported that the last person they saw looked very similar to Elder Yu, said Xia Bingbao. So you suspect that this Mr. Li Sifang was caught by Elder Yu? Yang Ming rolled his eyes. You don't want me to save this Li Sifang again, right? Yang Ming, I found that your special ability has the ability to foresee, shouted Xia Bingbao. Fuck off. Yang Ming said angrily, who is this Li Sifang? Why haven't I heard of him? He is the descendant of Li Shizhen. He is a very powerful Chinese medicine practitioner. His acupuncture skills are superb. Unfortunately, before he was caught, there was no descendant who got the true essence. Although there are several students, none of them have learned the true essence of Mr. Li. Xia Bingbao sighed. Li Shizhen? Yang Ming rolled his eyes again. You are not fooling me, right? No, I am telling the truth. I also know that this mission is very dangerous, but... Xia Bingbao said until here and couldn't continue awkwardly. But you still decided to let me go, right? Yang Ming continued, it's not easy to be cannon fodder. I might die. Don't say that. Li Sifang has medical skills that can bring the dead back to life. You have to save him. In the future, if your relatives and friends have any difficult illnesses, Mr. Li Sifang will definitely do his best to save them, said Xia Bingbao. Can't you say something nice? Yang Ming sighed. Can I refuse? No, said Xia Bingbao affirmatively. Then why are you still discussing with me? Just inform me directly. You are wasting my breath. Yang Ming smiled bitterly. You were the one who asked me before, okay? Xia Bingbao was also speechless. Well, I will agree to this matter for the time being, but I can only try my best. I can't guarantee anything. If my life is endangered, I will save my life first, said Yang Ming straightforwardly. Okay. Xia Bingbao agreed readily. He didn't want Yang Ming to die. Then let's put this matter aside first. I still have something to look for you, said Yang Ming. You haven't done anything for me yet, and I am already your errand boy. Xia Bingbao couldn't help but be angry when he heard Yang Ming's words. You, kid, are really unwilling to suffer losses. Don't I think that as a member of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, I should be low-key? Otherwise, I will do it myself. Said Yang Ming seriously. Forget it. If you have anything, let me do it for you. Xia Bingbao was shocked and said quickly. Help me find a person called Lu Xiaolei. He used to be the vice captain of the Mingjiang Escort Company, said Yang Ming. Well, I will call you when I find him. Xia Bingbao was relieved when he heard that it was this kind of thing. He was afraid that Yang Ming would find him for some trouble again. Chapter 1613. Yang Ming's days once again became dull. Every day, in addition to going online to cheat and playing Do Diju with Zhao Ying, waiting for a few fools to be fooled, they gradually talked more about each other. Yang Ming planned to listen to Sun Jie's advice and pursue Zhao Ying on the internet. He had to admit that through experiments, Yang Ming found that Sun Jie's move was still very effective. On the internet, Zhao Ying was not as shy as in reality. Even if they talked about some sensitive topics, Zhao Ying would consider for a long time before answering, instead of retreating directly like in reality. Yang Ming naturally would not express any love for Zhao Ying at the beginning, but he gradually catered to her interests. Zhao Ying was very clear about what topics Yang Ming liked, so the two people seemed to have more common topics. Chen Mengyan, Lin Jiyun, and Zhou Jiejia also resumed their study life every day. Yang Ming occasionally went to school, but most of the time when Chen Mengyan and others were not at home, Yang Ming would sneak out to have a private meeting with Sun Jie, Xiao Qing, and Wang Xiaoyan, or chat with Huang Lele and Zhao Ying on the internet. Occasionally, he would think of Jing Xiaolu and Shen Yushi, and send text messages to each other. Yang Ming's intense and exciting life in the past suddenly turned into this extremely dull old life. Just when these girls were enjoying the warmth of Yang Ming's days at home, only Wang Xiaoyan and Victoria, who were assassins, noticed something wrong with Yang Ming. In Wang Xiaoyan's villa, Victoria was also there. Wang Xiaoyan and Victoria were not strangers. The two people knew each other since they were in Africa. Among all of Yang Ming's women, these two people knew each other the best. Therefore, after Victoria found something wrong with Yang Ming, she immediately found Wang Xiaoyan. Wang Xiaoyan also happened to find something wrong with Yang Ming. After the two people discussed and confirmed, they increasingly felt that Yang Ming was weird. At that time, Victoria called Wang Xiaoyan. Since the two of them returned to China, they did not have much contact, but they still exchanged phone numbers. Hello? Victoria? Wang Xiaoyan looked at the caller ID with some suspicion and picked up the phone. She couldn't guess why Victoria would call her. Wang Xiaoyan? I'm Victoria. Victoria's voice came from the other side of the phone. Where are you? I have something to talk to you about. For Wang Xiaoyan, Victoria was very casual, and there was not so much politeness in her tone. Although Victoria knew the relationship between Wang Xiaoyan and Yang Ming, she did not need to be respectful to Wang Xiaoyan. She was only responsible for her master, Yang Ming. Talk to me? What's the matter? After Wang Xiaoyan listened to Victoria's words, she was a bit baffled. What is it that you want to talk to me about? It's about Mr. Yang. Victoria's words were still very concise, without too much embellishment. Yang Ming? Wang Xiaoyan asked subconsciously. Yes. Victoria replied faintly, only he will be called Mr. Yang. Well, you come to my house to find me. Wang Xiaoyan also knew Victoria's character, so she no longer asked. It's the building next to Yang Ming's villa. You come and press the doorbell. I will open the door for you. See you in 10 minutes. Victoria said and hung up the phone. Wang Xiaoyan shook her head. If it weren't for her trust in Victoria, she would not have agreed so readily. Since it was related to Yang Ming, Wang Xiaoyan would pay more attention to it. Victoria was punctual. 10 minutes later, Wang Xiaoyan's doorbell rang. Wang Xiaoyan saw Victoria's figure through the monitoring system. She opened the door and invited Victoria in. What's the matter? Wang Xiaoyan invited Victoria into the living room and asked after sitting down. Have you noticed that Mr. Yang has been very strange recently? Victoria did not like to beat around the bush. She went straight to the topic. Strange. Wang Xiaoyan listened to Victoria's words and looked at her with some surprise, but then she fell into contemplation. Previously, Wang Xiaoyan felt that something was wrong with Yang Ming's abnormal behavior, but she did not delve into it. Instead, she was immersed in the joy of being able to get together with Yang Ming every day. However, after what Victoria said today, Wang Xiaoyan thought about it carefully and felt that something was really wrong with Yang Ming. The Yang Ming in the past was not like this. What do you mean? Wang Xiaoyan looked at Victoria and asked. Mr. Yang has been texting me every day these days. He didn't miss a single day. He talked about some trivial matters as if he was explaining something. Victoria said, the Mr. Yang in the past would not do these boring things. I don't know if you have found a similar abnormality here. Now that you mention it. Wang Xiaoyan frowned slightly. It is indeed like this. Yang Ming comes to accompany me almost every day. The time is basically fixed for about an hour, and then he leaves in a hurry. I think that Mr. Yang is like an old man in his twilight years. Before he finishes the last phase of his life, he will have such a regular life. It's like a routine, deliberately getting in touch with everyone around him, said Victoria. Could it be, something is going to happen? Wang Xiaoyan carefully recalled what happened during this time. She spent almost all of her time with Yang Ming, and she did not find anything wrong. With your confirmation, I can be more sure that Mr. Yang should have something to hide from us, said Victoria. However, as his slave, I have no right to interfere with his affairs, but I also care about him. I hope you can figure out this matter. I will investigate. Wang Xiaoyan nodded. Since she had already noticed something strange, Wang Xiaoyan would naturally go and get to the bottom of it. So, in the afternoon when Chen Mengyan, Lin Jiyun, and Zhou Jiejia all went to class, Wang Xiaoyan called Yang Ming to her villa. Didn't we just meet yesterday? Why are you so impatient to call me today? Yang Ming still entered Wang Xiaoyan's villa from the window. Although Chen Mengyan and the others all went to school, who knew if they would come back temporarily for something? Since Chen Mengyan already knew that Wang Xiaoyan lived next door, if he went in again, it was hard to guarantee that it would not arouse her suspicion. So, Yang Ming decided to fly over the roof and walk on the wall. It's really a pity that I actually used my kung fu to have an affair. If Fang Tian knew, I don't know what he would think. However, after Yang Ming said this, he saw that Victoria was actually in Wang Xiaoyan's home. He couldn't help but be a little embarrassed. Why are you here? I came by myself. Victoria said, I have something to ask you, so I discussed it with Wang Xiaoyan. Something to ask me? Yang Ming was stunned. Don't we often text each other? If you have something to ask, just ask directly. Do you still need to find someone to discuss it? Well, let me say it. Wang Xiaoyan glanced at Victoria and nodded to her. She made a gesture to calm down, then she turned to Yang Ming and said, Yang Ming, what happened to you recently? Recently? What do you mean what happened recently? Yang Ming was shocked, but he still asked with an indifferent expression. Your recent behavior, why do I feel that you are living like an old man? Has your life become unusually regular? Even when you look for me, it has become very regular, basically once every 2 days? Wang Xiaoyan stared at Yang Ming's eyes and asked. Oh. Is that so? Is there a regular pattern? Yang Ming's forehead slightly oozed some cold sweat. Isn't this good? I have nothing to do recently. What's wrong with spending more time with you? It's exactly because there's nothing wrong with it that life has become too comfortable. That's the biggest problem. Wang Xiaoyan said, Yang Ming, you are not a person who can be idle. Don't deny it. It can be said that I am the one who understands you the most among all your women. Is this right? Although Yang Ming was somewhat reluctant to admit it, he still nodded. Even so, but I was too tired a while ago. What's wrong with resting? Rest? Are you resting? Wang Xiaoyan took out a list of phone numbers and placed it in front of Yang Ming. Chapter 1614. How do you know my cell phone password? When Yang Ming saw that Wang Xiaoyan actually took out his cell phone call record list, he couldn't help but be stunned. I guessed it. It's your birthday. I didn't expect that I would be the first one to guess it correctly. Wang Xiaoyan shrugged. As an assassin, you are a bit careless in this regard. Yang Ming was somewhat speechless. This cell phone number was set up together with Lan Ling. The password was chosen randomly. At that time, he was not an assassin. Naturally, he didn't think so much. Later, he had not changed it. He didn't expect Wang Xiaoyan to take advantage of this opportunity. Look at your cell phone call record. Every day, after you get up, you start to call. The people you contact are the same. Of course, that includes me. I really admire you, Yang Ming. There are so many people, but you can actually take care of them all. Aren't you tired? Wang Xiaoyan pointed to a few numbers on the call record list and said, Why do I feel that you are not resting at all, nor are you contacting them for the sake of contacting them? It seems more like a kind of obligation and responsibility. Yang Ming didn't expect that his caution still made Wang Xiaoyan notice something. Facing this list of his call record, Yang Ming couldn't deny anything. However, after listening to Wang Xiaoyan's doubts and analysis, Yang Ming also understood where his oversight was. He was too calm and regular, which led to Wang Xiaoyan and Victoria's suspicion. Yang Ming, what happened? Wang Xiaoyan saw that Yang Ming was silent, and she couldn't help but be shocked. This means that Yang Ming acquiesced to what she said before. In this way, I am afraid that something is really going to happen. The more Wang Xiaoyan thought about it, the more she felt that Yang Ming seemed to have a sense of his will. This made Wang Xiaoyan uneasy in her heart. Although Wang Xiaoyan had always been very confident in Yang Ming. Even last time when he went to the Lancer family alone to save her father, he was full of confidence when he left. But this time, even Yang Ming had such an attitude. Perhaps, what was going to happen was not a trivial matter. Yang Ming was silent for a moment, calculating the gains and losses in his heart. Finally, he sighed and said, Well, since you have guessed it, I won't hide it anymore. You and Victoria are not outsiders, so it's okay for me to tell you. But what I said today, that's all. Don't tell others. Seeing that Yang Ming's identity finally admitted, Wang Xiaoyan and Victoria's family. Actually, I still have an official identity. Yang Ming did not wait for Wang Xiaoyan and Victoria to speak, and continued to say, there is a mysterious department called the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. It is similar to a secret service, and I am a member of it. Supernatural Investigation Bureau? Wang Xiaoyan repeated the name. She seemed to have heard of it somewhere. With her well-informed assassin identity, it was not strange for her to have heard of such an agency. This agency performs some very mysterious and dangerous missions. Under normal circumstances, they are basically responsible for things that cannot be solved under abnormal circumstances. Yang Ming continued, and I am going to perform a mission. Yang Ming had always been very confident in doing things. Even if he was not completely sure, he was still confident. Therefore, every time Yang Ming went out to perform a mission or to save someone, he was full of confidence. Only this time, Yang Ming did not have the slightest confidence. Yang Ming had a special ability, and he was the successor of the King of Assassins. It was not wrong to say that Yang Ming had an advantage over the average person. However, the enemy that Yang Ming was facing this time was not an ordinary person, but the mysterious and evil Elder Yu. This person was not only proficient in voodoo, but he also practiced evil techniques. Not to mention Yang Ming, even the authentic people from the Miaojiang Miao village were not the opponent of this Elder Yu. Yang Ming was even less confident. Since Elder Yu could not be cleaned up by Lan Ling's Miao village for so many years, but he was almost killed by Yang Ming, what confidence did Yang Ming have to win? However, regardless of whether Yang Ming was confident or not, this time, he had to go. It was the same whether it was for public or private reasons. Elder Yu was originally his enemy. Even if he did not confront him directly now, there would be a day when he would confront him. Moreover, there were things that a great man should do and shouldn't do. Since he had joined the Supernatural Investigation Bureau for so long, it was reasonable for him to contribute to the country here. Therefore, after Yang Ming thought about it, he decided to fight with his back against the wall. However, to be honest, Yang Ming himself was not confident that he could return safely this time. Therefore, Yang Ming particularly cherished the peaceful days now. He tried his best to accompany his lovers and enjoy this rare warmth and peace. Perhaps this time, I won't be able to come back. Of course, it was a little frustrating to think like this, but some things had to be prepared in advance. Is it very dangerous? Wang Xiaoyan suddenly understood Yang Ming's words and couldn't help but ask. Yang Ming nodded. To be honest, at least I don't have any confidence. Wang Xiaoyan listened to Yang Ming's words, and the anxiety on her face became stronger. Can you not go? Yang Ming smiled bitterly and shook his head. I have already promised them. Yang Ming. Wang Xiaoyan hugged Yang Ming and threw herself into his arms. Her tears couldn't help but fall. Wang Xiaoyan was a strong person. She had not cried for a long time, but this time, she finally couldn't help but cry. She understood the meaning of Yang Ming's previous words. She also knew Yang Ming's strength. Since Yang Ming was not confident about this matter, then it was imaginable how difficult this matter was. Although Wang Xiaoyan had long known that as an assassin, there was no tomorrow for today, that was relative to ordinary assassins. For people like Yang Ming who stood at the top of the pyramid of the assassin world, even if the mission failed, he could escape and retreat. He would not be killed on the spot. If you fail this mission, can you escape? Asked Wang Xiaoyan. Of course. Yang Ming stroked Wang Xiaoyan's forehead and said, Do you think I am a fool? Knowing that I am going to die, I still want to rush up. However, Yang Ming had a sentence that he didn't say, but he muttered in his heart, I am afraid that I can't escape even if I want to. That's good. Wang Xiaoyan breathed a sigh of relief. Then, you must be careful. I will. There is only one life. I will naturally cherish it. Yang Ming smiled and comforted her. Do you need my help? Wang Xiaoyan asked subconsciously, but after asking, She smiled bitterly in her heart. Yang Ming himself was not sure. If she went, wouldn't she be adding trouble to him? No need. Yang Ming shook his head. Think about it. In fact, it's nothing. You and I have encountered danger more than once or twice. In the end, didn't we turn the danger into safety? Wang Xiaoyan nodded cleverly. Victoria was still sitting on the side with a frown. Victoria automatically filtered out the words that Yang Ming said later. She also crawled out from danger. She knew that in some situations, you couldn't run away just because you wanted to. Many times, once you stepped out, there was no turning back. It was like fighting in a life and death arena. Once you entered the arena, could you still run away? The words that Yang Ming said later could only be to comfort Wang Xiaoyan. Out of blind trust and love, there was no doubt. Otherwise, with Wang Xiaoyan's astuteness, it was not difficult to figure this out. However, Victoria didn't expose it because some things didn't need to be said too clearly. What should happen would happen in the end. She couldn't stop it. Yang Ming gestured to Victoria and then went upstairs with Wang Xiaoyan. Victoria just glanced at Yang Ming and didn't make any response. Instead, she was thinking about something. Chapter 16-15. Why didn't you tell me before? Wang Xiaoyan snuggled into Yang Ming's embrace and held onto Yang Ming's hand tightly. She was afraid that she would lose him if she let go. You can hide it from others, but you shouldn't hide it from me. We've been through so many life and death situations together, I'm afraid you'll be worried. Yang Ming sighed. As long as I'm confident, I'll tell you easily. But this time, the enemy I'm facing is unknown. Unknown? Wang Xiaoyan didn't quite understand what Yang Ming meant. Is the enemy very strong? Strong. I guess so. Yang Ming nodded. You know, in many situations, as long as it's within the scope of nature, I won't be afraid no matter how strong the enemy is. I'll always be able to find a loophole. But this time, the enemy I'm facing is beyond the scope of nature. The enemy's ability is far beyond our imagination. Why does it sound like the enemy you're facing has superpowers? Wang Xiaoyan was a little confused. Superpowers. Not really, but it's almost there. Yang Ming smiled bitterly and explained, the enemy is from Blue Miao Village. He's a traitor of Blue Miao Village. He's practicing an evil technique that increases his power by sucking the fresh blood of people who have just died. It can be said that this person is very evil. Not only is he invulnerable, but he's also proficient in voodoo. Ah! Wang Xiaoyan heard Yang Ming's words and looked at Yang Ming in disbelief. If it wasn't Yang Ming who said this, Wang Xiaoyan definitely wouldn't believe it. It was because what Yang Ming said was too unbelievable. Voodoo, evil technique, sucking human blood. This was simply beyond the scope of a person's imagination. It was already illogical. When I first came into contact with it, I didn't believe it either. However, one of my girlfriends is the granddaughter of Blue Miao Village's chief. After knowing her, I realized that voodoo is real and does exist. However, only a small number of Miao people have mastered it, and they can't simply use voodoo on ordinary people. Yang Ming explained to Wang Xiaoyan, this elder Yu is a traitor of Blue Miao Village. Not only does he practice forbidden techniques, but he also uses voodoo on ordinary people. So, no matter what, this dangerous person must be eliminated. You're going to be an enemy of such a person? Wang Xiaoyan widened her eyes. You have no chance of winning? I can't say that there is none. If a miracle happens, maybe there is still hope. Yang Ming said with a smile. Isn't it the same with what you say? No, I won't let you go. Wang Xiaoyan hugged Yang Ming tightly. If this is the case, I can't let you go no matter what. Yan Yan, you know me. Yang Ming didn't say much but simply said. It was because he knew that Wang Xiaoyan would understand the meaning of his words. Sure enough, Wang Xiaoyan fell into silence as soon as Yang Ming finished speaking. After a while, Wang Xiaoyan said, "Have you really decided?" N. Yang Ming replied. "Then, you have to be careful. I really hope that this is a dream." Wang Xiaoyan sighed. She knew that no matter what she said, she couldn't change Yang Ming's decision. Just like when Yang Ming went to the Lancer family alone to save her father, Wang Xiaoyan was the first to object because she had lost her father and didn't want to lose Yang Ming. However, under Yang Ming's insistence, Wang Xiaoyan still had to let Yang Ming go. However, Yang Ming was full of confidence at that time. Before leaving, he even teased her and others by saying that they would wait for his triumphant return. This time, Yang Ming himself was not sure. This made Wang Xiaoyan feel very gloomy. "Hee, then you can treat it as a dream." Yang Ming smiled. "If I come back, you can treat it as a dream. Nothing happened. If I don't come back, you can also treat it as a dream. Treat it as knowing me in a dream. When you wake up, everything is over." "Nonsense." Wang Xiaoyan pinched Yang Ming. "Don't say such discouraging words. It's inauspicious. We are all assassins. How can there be so many taboos?" Yang Ming smiled bitterly. "I didn't expect you to pinch people. Of course, I am also a girl." Wang Xiaoyan snorted. "Minyan's class should be over. I should go back." Yang Ming looked at his watch and said to Wang Xiaoyan. Wang Xiaoyan reluctantly let go of Yang Ming's hand. "Don't be so regular every day in the future. Chen Mengyan and the others will be suspicious." "I got it." After Wang Xiaoyan and Victoria saw the problem, Yang Ming decided to change his daily lifestyle after going back. Since Victoria and Wang Xiaoyan were suspicious, the other girls around him were not stupid. It was hard to guarantee that they would not notice the problem after a long time. It seemed that he was a little idealistic, so he ignored these details. Downstairs, Victoria was still sitting on the sofa. When she saw Yang Ming coming downstairs, she took out a small box from her handbag and handed it to Yang Ming. "What is it?" Yang Ming took the small box and asked, baffled. "The chip taken out of my body." Victoria said, "This is the world's most advanced GPS satellite positioning system. It can be used for global positioning. Even in a blind spot, it can be used to calculate the distance of the lost signal by starting the built-in radar to track the target's movement. The approximate range can be determined." Victoria explained, "You can take it with you or install it in your shoes. You don't have to be so exaggerating, right?" Yang Ming looked at the box. "If something really happens to me, can you save me with this? I am not his opponent. What's the use of you going?" "You take it," Victoria said stubbornly. "Well, then I will take it with me." Yang Ming nodded, took the box, and held it in his hand. "There won't be a blasting device in it, right?" "No, it has been taken out." Victoria smiled. "Why? Are you afraid that I will blow you up so that I can escape your control?" "I've said it before. If you want to leave, you can leave at any time. Moreover, I don't even know if I can come back from this trip to Yunnan. If you don't blow me up, I probably won't be able to do it." Victoria smiled. "I will wait for you to come back. In this life, I only have one master." Although Victoria's words seemed to be casual, it really made Yang Ming's heart tremble. Victoria was a stubborn person. Yang Ming knew it very well. When Yang Ming returned home, his phone rang. Yang Ming looked at the phone number. It was Xia Bingbao calling. "Hello, brother Xia, what's the matter? Is the time for the mission set?" Yang Ming asked subconsciously. "Mission time?" Xia Bingbao was stunned, and then said, "Not yet. We still have to wait for a while. Our department is also discussing the most secure plan. We can't let you take risks blindly. After all, you are the ultimate trump card of our Supernatural Investigation Bureau. We can't allow you to have any accidents." Hee hee, so it's like this. This feeling of being valued made Yang Ming feel good. At least, he felt that he was not risking his life for nothing. Right, I almost forgot about the business. I called you to talk about the last time you asked me to help you find Lu Xiaolei, Xia Bingbao said. For your matter, I almost mobilized the power of the investigation bureau in the country. Sorry to trouble you, brother Xia. Yang Ming was a little embarrassed. Although he knew that Xia Bingbao did this to make a deal with him, Yang Ming was still very touched that Xia Bingbao was willing to help him with these trivial matters. It's nothing. Xia Bingbao smiled. However, the result may disappoint you. You didn't find it? Asked Yang Ming. I found it, but it was a corpse, Xia Bingbao said. I found a floating corpse on the beach of Bianhai City. After identification, it was Lu Xiaolei, the deputy captain of the Mingjiang Bank Escort Company. Dead? Yang Ming frowned subconsciously. Could it be that there are still some secrets in this matter? Originally, Yang Ming didn't think much about it. He just thought that Lu Xiaolei just took the money and ran away, but now it seemed that this was not the case. There seemed to be some unknown things behind the scenes. During this time, Yang Ming had to perform a mission, so he didn't have the mood to care about these things. Yang Ming didn't ask much about the details of Jing Xiaolu's side. Now that Xia Bingbao mentioned it, he thought about it. How did he die? Shot. Xia Bingbao said, Lu Xiaolei was shot 6 times. 2 of them were fatal. They were located in the left forehead and left chest. What kind of gun did he shoot? Yang Ming listened to Xia Bingbao's words and was more and more sure of his previous thoughts. There was definitely a secret in this. Chapter 16:16. Type 54 Pistol. Xia Bingbao said, judging from the bullet shell traces, it should be a replica of the Type 54 pistol. This kind of pistol is the most common in the black market. It is also the most common. It is not easy to find out the source. No need to check. I got it. Yang Ming said, these are enough. That's good. If you continue to check, I am afraid that it will not only consume manpower and material resources. It will be difficult to get any results without a year and a half. Xia Bingbao was relieved after listening to Yang Ming's words. Thank you, brother Xia, said Yang Ming. Oh. Yang Ming, this is not like you. When did you become so polite with me? Xia Bingbao heard Yang Ming's serious tone and wondered, Yang Ming, what's wrong with you? Nothing, hee hee. Okay, let's not talk about it. Contact me when the mission time and plan have results, said Yang Ming. Okay. Xia Bingbao listened to Yang Ming's words and seemed to guess why Yang Ming was a little abnormal. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. We are not asking you to be cannon fodder, but we really want to get rid of this elder you, so we will ask experts to do a feasibility analysis of the plan. Expert? Expert? Yang Ming smiled. Hee hee, okay. Yang Ming wouldn't care much about the so-called expert's plan and plan on paper. The actual situation was always changing. If he always stuck to the plan and plan, he would die miserably. The most important thing for an assassin was to adapt to the situation and adapt to the environment, not to adapt to the environment for the sake of the plan. Xia Bingbao also heard the sarcasm in Yang Ming's tone, but he didn't say much. Okay, if there is anything, we will contact you at any time. After hanging up the phone, Yang Ming sighed. He didn't want to care about these things anymore, but since he knew that there was an inside story, Yang Ming couldn't just ignore it. Although his life in Yunnan was uncertain, he still had to continue living. Bianhai City. Isn't this Pu Dania's territory? Lu Xiaolei's body was found by the sea. In other words, Lu Xiaolei might have been shot at sea. Since Lu Xiaolei had appeared in Bianhai City and was at sea, what did this mean? Could it be that Lu Xiaolei wanted to illegally cross the border to Russia? This was very possible. With a huge sum of money and a wanted criminal, it could be said that it was difficult for him to move an inch in the country. If he was smuggled into Russia and gave a huge sum of money to the local Chinese gang, perhaps they would protect him and ensure that he would not have to worry about anything in Russia. Then, did Lu Xiaolei smuggle himself in through Pu Dainiu? And who killed Lu Xiaolei? Was it because the people on the same boat saw the money, or was it premeditated? However, since Bianhai City was Pu Dainiu's territory, Pu Dainiu should have received some news about such a big incident. Therefore, Yang Ming planned to call Pu Dainiu and ask him if he knew anything. Thinking of this, Yang Ming directly called Pu Dainiu. Hello. Pu Dainiu was playing mahjong with a few of his brothers. When he heard the phone ring, he picked it up impatiently. Who is this? Is this Pu Dainiu? Asked Yang Ming. It's me. Who are you? Pu Dainiu frowned and thought, who the fuck is this? How dare he call my name? However, Pu Dainiu couldn't be blamed for having such thoughts. Ever since the Golden Hawk gang was destroyed in Bianhai City, Pu Dainiu was the only one left. He had become the leader of the underworld. Anyone who saw him would give him some face and respectfully call him Brother Dainiu. Old Pu, I'm Li Mui, said Li Mui. This Li Mui was an alias that Yang Ming casually made up. Mui was Yang. The overall meaning was Yang Ming, the powerful one. It was something that Yang Ming said casually. He didn't expect to use it a second time. Li Mui? Pu Dainiu was stunned at first. Then, he immediately remembered who this Li Mui was. He pushed the mahjong tiles in his hand and quickly stood up with the phone. He went to a quiet place and said respectfully, so it's Mr. Li. Nice to meet you. Old Pu, long story short. I'm looking for you to ask about something. Yang Ming didn't bother to be polite with him and said directly. Mr. Li, just tell me what you want. Old Pu, will definitely tell you everything I know, said Pu Dainiu quickly. Do you know a person called Lu Xiaolei? Asked Yang Ming. Lu Xiaolei? Who's that? Pu Dainiu was stunned. He had never heard of this name. You don't know him? Yang Ming was also stunned. Then, he immediately figured it out. It was impossible for anyone to use their real name when they tried to smuggle in. He was probably using an alias. A male corpse was found on the beach in Bianhai City. It was Lu Xiaolei. Ah. Mr. Li, you're talking about that male corpse. Now that you mention it, I remember now. He's Lu Xiaolei. He came to me with another person and wanted to smuggle into Russia. However, the person he was with gave me more money and told me not to interfere with what they were going to do on the ship. After that, my subordinates told me that the person who gave me the money shot Lu Xiaolei to death and threw his body into the sea. So it was like that. When Yang Ming heard Pu Dainiu's words, it almost confirmed with his previous assumption. Do you still remember what Lu Xiaolei's companion, the person who gave you the money, looked like? That person was wearing a cap that was pulled down very low. I didn't see his face clearly, said Pu Dainiu a little embarrassed. Also, you know that it's taboo to get to the bottom of things in our line of work. I didn't take a good look at him either. However, judging from his accent, he was a local. He should be from this province. What's so special about this person? Asked Yang Ming. Mr. Li, please wait a moment. I'll call him for you. I'll look for the brother who was on the ship that day and see if he has any impression of him, said Pu Dainiu. Okay, just call this number. You can find me, said Yang Ming. I'll do it now. Pu Dainiu promised. After hanging up the phone, Yang Ming put his phone aside and turned on his computer. He didn't know if Zhao Ying was online. Yang Ming had fallen in love with the feeling of chatting with Zhao Ying over the past few days. This feeling was very wonderful. It was different from chatting in real life, especially when he knew Zhao Ying's identity. When Zhao Ying didn't know his identity, he could always cater to her interests and talk about topics that interested Zhao Ying. With just a few words, he could make Zhao Ying laugh. This feeling of being in the dark while the enemy was in the light made Yang Ming happy. Yang Ming knew that he might not be able to come back from Yunnan this time. If he continued to develop his relationship with Zhao Ying, he would be a burden to Zhao Ying. However, this wonderful feeling made Yang Ming unable to stop. Moreover, Yang Ming didn't want to have any regrets before he went to Yunnan. He logged into QQ skillfully and opened the chat with Wild Female Teacher. There was a message that Zhao Ying left for him. Are you there? Same old place tonight, all night? Yang Ming looked at the time of the message. It was left this morning. At that time, Yang Ming hadn't turned on his computer yet. Zhao Ying's so-called old place was the game room that she had been cheating in for the past few days. Today was Friday, and Zhao Ying didn't have classes tomorrow. Therefore, she invited Yang Ming to play all night. All night? Yang Ming smiled bitterly. She really knows how to torment people. She's here now. All night? Okay, but it will be later. Yang Ming said in his heart, at the very least, I have to accompany Chen Mengyan, Lin Jiyun, and Zhou Jiejia to coax them to sleep before I can accompany Zhao Ying to earn points. Chapter 16-17. Although Yang Ming decided not to live like this anymore after Wang Xiaoyan's reminder, he couldn't bear to part with the last moments he spent with Chen Mengyan and the others. After coaxing the three to sleep, Yang Ming dragged his tired body to the study room. As for why he was tired, you know. Yang Ming turned on the computer and logged into QQ. Wild Female Teacher. Messages kept flashing. There were as many as 10 messages. Yang Ming opened the conversation window. Zhao Ying mostly asked, Are you there? Why aren't you here yet? And, why aren't you here yet? It's already so late. Why aren't you here yet? Don't tell me you're asleep, and so on. Yang Ming quickly replied, I'm here. Something happened at home just now. Wild Female Teacher quickly replied, I thought you weren't coming. Then she sent a sleepy emoji. I have to keep my promise to you, said Yang Ming. Tisk, sweet mouth. Wild Female Teacher sent a look of disdain. Same old rules? Find a room to sit down and wait for fools to take the bait, asked Yang Ming. But let's change rooms today. A lot of people already know about our tricks. Today, that Fishman X2 scolded me in a private chat. He probably knows the truth, said Wild Female Teacher. Scolded you? It can't be. That guy is so vengeful. Yang Ming was a little surprised. After being cheated for a few days in the game, he could still find the person who cheated that day. It was really a miracle. Isn't that so? He scolded me without using vulgarities. I'm so angry, said Wild Female Teacher. It can't be. This guy's cultural level is quite high. Could he be a writer? Yang Ming was surprised. Who knows? That's why we're changing rooms tonight. It's not safe here, said Wild Female Teacher. Why do I feel that your words have a different meaning? It's like we're going to be found out and need to change locations. Yang Ming teased. If you keep spouting nonsense, I'll ignore you, Wild Female Teacher quickly replied. Staring at the computer screen, Zhao Ying's heart skipped a beat. In the past, she would only feel this kind of feeling when she was chatting with Yang Ming. However, she didn't know when it started, but whenever Yang Ming's "there's no true love in this world" talked about sensitive topics, her heart would beat faster for no reason. Could it be that he had a good impression of this netizen? How was this possible? How was this possible? She wanted to love Yang Ming wholeheartedly. She couldn't like anyone else. However, although Zhao Ying thought so, the feeling of her heartbeat was still there. This kind of subconscious reaction was not something that could be controlled. The more he tried to escape, the stronger this feeling became. Zhao Ying secretly scolded herself. How could she be like this? Except for Yang Ming, she shouldn't like anyone else. However, this netizen named "There's no true love in this world" was very similar to him in her heart, whether it was the way he joked or the tone of his words. Subconsciously, the two people overlapped. In many cases, Zhao Ying regarded this netizen as a substitute for Yang Ming. Although she knew that this feeling wasn't a good sign, sometimes, she was greedy for the feeling of being moved and couldn't extricate herself. She had to admit that sometimes a girl's sixth sense was very accurate. In this case, Zhao Ying actually had the same good impression of Yang Ming on the internet. It wasn't that Zhao Ying was fickle, but because whether it was Yang Ming in reality or Yang Ming on the internet, he could open Zhao Ying's heart. There were no two people who were exactly the same in the world. Even if they deliberately imitated, there would be a certain gap. Yang Ming was unique. Therefore, if the person on the internet was changed to someone else, it was absolutely impossible to make Zhao Ying have the slightest good impression. However, the person on the internet was also Yang Ming. His style of speaking and doing things was exactly the same as the real Yang Ming. Perhaps Yang Ming himself didn't notice this, and Zhao Ying didn't notice this, but this kind of subtle influence had unknowingly penetrated into Zhao Ying's heart and took root in her heart. Don't. Why don't you be my girlfriend in the game? Isn't it popular to find a girlfriend in the game now? Yang Ming wouldn't give up and quickly followed up. Zhao Ying looked at the message sent by, "There's no true love in this world." Her eyes turned black and she almost dropped the mouse on the ground. Why does this person dare to say anything? Don't you have a girlfriend? Zhao Ying angrily sent a message over. You say, why do you always provoke me? Didn't I say it was in the game? Yang Ming continued. Do Diju doesn't have a couple function. Zhao Ying said helplessly. Oh, then if there is, you can be my girlfriend, said Yang Ming. Zhao Ying looked at the message sent by, "There's no true love in this world." Her head was full of black lines. What does this mean? Are you playing or not? Zhao Ying finally had no choice but to say firmly. Of course. If you don't answer, I will take it as you agree. In the future, I will call you my wife in the game. After all, it's just a game. Yang Ming said on his own initiative. You. Zhao Ying almost died of anger, but she couldn't do anything. Zhao Ying couldn't cut ties with, "There's no true love in this world." After all, the two of them had known each other for so long. Although they only chatted on the internet, they were still very good friends. How could she cut ties with him just like that? Moreover, "There's no true love in this world" made it very clear that it was in the game. In other words, it was only on the internet and had nothing to do with reality. If she was angry because of this, wouldn't it seem that she was a bit too much? Zhao Ying also heard that many people had couples in online games, and these couples had boyfriends and girlfriends in reality. The internet was just a game. Although Zhao Ying couldn't accept this concept, it also depended on who was her partner. When "There's no true love in this world" said those words, Zhao Ying's heart had a trace of joy for no reason. In her heart, it was like there was a devil's voice urging her to accept him. However, Zhao Ying's rationality told her that she couldn't betray Yang Ming, even on the internet. If Yang Ming knew that Zhao Ying was in such a dilemma, he might have immediately confessed his identity to Zhao Ying. Zhao Ying hesitated for a long time. In the end, her rationality won over the trace of affection for, "There's no true love in this world." She thought, "You can call me whatever you want. I won't respond to you. Server 3, Room 1, Table 18, come quickly." Zhao Ying tried her best to calm her emotions and sent a message over. She would not think about the previous matter for the time being. "Coming, wife," Yang Ming said, taking advantage of the situation. Zhao Ying saw what "There's no true love in this world" said and was so angry that she gritted her teeth. She didn't reply and entered the game directly. The two of them played until dawn. Yang Ming was almost sleepy, and Zhao Ying returned with a full load. However, regarding Yang Ming calling her wife, Zhao Ying didn't respond directly. Yang Ming yawned and was about to go to sleep when his phone rang. Yang Ming frowned. Who's calling this late at night? However, Yang Ming suddenly realized after looking at the time. It's already 6 in the morning. How is it late? Yang Ming looked at the caller ID. It was Pu Daniu calling. Yang Ming picked up the phone. Is this Mr. Li? Pu Dainyu asked carefully. It's me, old Pu, right? How is it? Is there any news? Yang Ming remembered that he asked old Pu to investigate Lu Xiaolei. He didn't think that there would be news so soon. He didn't expect old Pu to be so efficient. Mr. Li, I found my subordinate. Coincidentally, he went out to sea today. However, I asked him to come back immediately. Pu Dainyu said. Chapter 16-18. I'm sorry to have troubled you. When Yang Ming heard Pu Dainyu's words, he couldn't help but feel grateful. He didn't expect Pu Dainyu to work so hard for him. Although it might be because Pu Dainyu was grateful to him for helping him clear the gap between the Golden Hawk gang and the people around him, he didn't have any direct relationship with Pu Dainyu. There was no need for him to work so hard and do things for him overnight. Hee, what are you talking about? Mr. Li's matter is my matter. Pu Dainyu laughed heartily and said, Mr. Li, this subordinate of mine has a good memory. The two of us carefully recalled the person's appearance and characteristics. Although it wasn't very clear, we could still make out a rough outline. We found an artist and drew his portrait. Oh. You even made a portrait? That's really great. Yang Ming was a little surprised. He didn't expect Pu Dainyu to even make a portrait. He really put in a lot of effort. Mr. Li, should I send it to you by courier or fax it? Pu Dainyu asked. Fax it. It's more convenient. I'll give you a number. As Yang Ming spoke, he gave Pu Dainyu a fax number of the Mingyang Security Company. Pu Dainyu quickly recorded it and promised to send it over immediately. Although it was 6 in the morning, Yang Ming wasn't afraid that he couldn't receive the fax. This was because the company's faxes were automatically received when no one was on duty. He just had to inform Jing Xiaolu when the time came. Thinking of Jing Xiaolu, Yang Ming couldn't help but have a headache. What's the relationship between Jing Xiaolu and me? From the initial disgust to now having some good feelings, the process of this change, bit by bit, unconsciously rushed into Yang Ming's mind. Yang Ming wasn't blind. He naturally saw all the changes and efforts of Jing Xiaolu. Yang Ming was also very clear about why she wanted to do well in the company. Yang Ming was also very clear about why she wanted to do well in the company. If it weren't for the fact that he was going to Yunnan, perhaps the two of them would have gotten together naturally. But now, compared to Zhao Ying, Yang Ming's feelings for Jing Xiaolu were not too deep. So far, he just had a good impression of her. It was not to the extent that he liked her. Therefore, dealing with the relationship between the two became a headache for Yang Ming. Once he left, he might not be able to come back. Should he tell Jing Xiaolu and say goodbye to her for the last time, or should he not tell her anything? Yang Ming wasn't sure if Jing Xiaolu would continue to wait foolishly after he disappeared. What Yang Ming could be sure of was that Chen Mengyan, Lin Jiyun, Zhou Jiejia, Wang Xiaoyan, Xiao Qing, and even Sun Jia would continue to wait. Whether he persuaded them or not, it would be useless. Therefore, Yang Ming simply didn't waste his breath. As for Jing Xiaolu, there was only a little ambiguity between him and her. If Jing Xiaolu continued to wait like this, wouldn't he be delaying her? However, Yang Ming was afraid that after he told her about the matter, this girl would have a big mouth and tell Chen Mengyan and the others about him. That would not be fun. He sighed. Forget it. Let these things continue to take their natural course. If I think too much, it's purely worrying about nothing. At the bedroom door, he glanced inside with his special ability. Chen Mengyan and the others were sleeping soundly. Yang Ming didn't disturb them. He went directly out of his villa and drove to the Mingyang Security Company. On the way to the company, Yang Ming called Jing Xiaolu. In the past few days, Yang Ming often sent text messages to Jing Xiaolu. Yang Ming didn't know what kind of mentality he had. He obviously didn't want to delay her, but he was reluctant to let go. I don't know when I started to become a little greedy. Yang Ming smiled bitterly. Perhaps, since Chen Mengyan forgave and indulged me again and again, I have become a little unscrupulous. Yang Ming, why are you calling me so early? Jing Xiaolu just woke up and was dressing up when she received a call from Yang Ming. I have some clues about Lu Xiaolei here. You come to the headquarters of the Ming Yang Security Company in a while and see if you can find anything, said Yang Ming. Okay, I'll go over now. Jing Xiaolu quickly responded. On the surface, it seemed that she was very concerned about Lu Xiaolei, but in fact, Jing Xiaolu wanted to see Yang Ming. Although she often sent text messages in the past few days, people were always greedy. When there were no text messages in the past, Jing Xiaolu longed for Yang Ming to contact her every now and then, even if it was just about work. Now Yang Ming always sent messages like, "What are you doing? Are you in class or in the company?" Such text messages made Jing Xiaolu feel flattered, but she also looked forward to seeing Yang Ming from time to time. In fact, such similar text messages were not only sent by Yang Ming to Jing Xiaolu, but also to Shen Yuxi, Zhang Bin, Tian Donghua, Li Dagang, and other friends around him. Yang Ming was afraid that he would never see these people around him again after he left, so he would chat with them for no reason. However, Jing Xiaolu misunderstood Yang Ming's intentions. She thought that Yang Ming was finally interested in her and began to prepare to enter the relationship stage with her. This made Jing Xiaolu so happy that she couldn't sleep for a few days. Yang Ming naturally didn't know Jing Xiaolu's thoughts. After calling Jing Xiaolu, his thoughts drifted elsewhere. Yang Ming could always accompany these women and friends in Songjiang, but Yang Ming missed Suya and Huang Lele the most. A big singer who ran around the world and a flight attendant who flew around the world. Suya was still very busy. Although she promised Yang Ming that she would gradually fade out of the entertainment industry, now was not the best time. The text messages to Suya were sometimes answered after a few hours, but Yang Ming didn't mind. The nature of Suya's daily work made it impossible for her to carry her mobile phone with her all the time. Which celebrity would carry a mobile phone when performing on stage? In the past few days, the content of Yang Ming's text messages had changed from the initial expectation that Suya could end her career in the entertainment industry as soon as possible and accompany him to support her career. This made Suya a little surprised, but she didn't guess Yang Ming's real intention. She thought that Yang Ming had thought it through. However, she still promised Yang Ming that she would end her current career and identity in 3 years at the latest. Yang Ming could only smile bitterly at Suya's reply. The biggest reason why he changed his original intention to support Suya was that Yang Ming didn't know if he could come back this time. If he really couldn't come back, why would Suya end her career? Wasn't this just adding to the trouble? Of course, Yang Ming couldn't say these words to Suya because the time was not right yet. There were some things that Yang Ming wouldn't say, all of them, until the moment of departure. As for Huang Lele, it was also because Yang Ming often sent a text message in the morning and only replied in the afternoon. It couldn't be helped. The mobile phone couldn't be turned on the plane. Huang Lele was a flight attendant, so she naturally couldn't take the lead to violate the rules and take her life as a joke. However, a careless person like Huang Lele didn't find anything wrong with Yang Ming. She was just a little baffled by Yang Ming's frequent text messages. She asked Yang Ming if they hadn't seen each other for a while. Should she fly to Donghai to meet him next time? Yang Ming accepted this suggestion, but he didn't comment on Huang Lele's guess. In the blink of an eye, they arrived at the Ming Yang Security Company. Yang Ming parked the car downstairs. As soon as he got out of the car, he saw another blue BMW X5 similar to his car stop. It was Jing Xiaolu's car. Why are you driving so fast? I ran 2 red lights and couldn't catch up with you. Jing Xiaolu stopped the car and began to complain. I honked, but you ignored me. You were behind me? When Yang Ming heard Jing Xiaolu's complaint, he looked at her apologetically. I didn't notice before. I'm sorry. Yang Ming really didn't notice before. His attention was thinking about Suya and Huang Lele. He only paid attention to the road and the distance between the cars. he didn't see Jing Xiaolu behind him. Forget it. It's fine. When Jing Xiaolu heard Yang Ming's apology, she was a little embarrassed. Indeed, there was nothing urgent when she chased after Yang Ming. It was all for fun. Yang Ming didn't scold her, but he apologized, which made Jing Xiaolu a little uncomfortable. Today's makeup is good. Yang Ming looked at Jing Xiaolu's face and said. Chapter 16-19. Really? Jing Xiaolu touched her cheek with some joy. She thought to herself, it's because I received your call today that I specially dressed up. You look more natural. You don't look like you used to wear heavy makeup. Now you look like you don't have any makeup, said Yang Ming. Jing Xiaolu thought, what do you mean by no makeup? This is called nude makeup. It is more troublesome to put it on, Yang Ming just said casually. He didn't delve into this. The two went upstairs side by side. Regarding the relationship between Yang Ming and Jing Xiaolu, the people in the company were not surprised since Yang Ming supported Jing Xiaolu at the inaugural meeting. In the past, there were rumors in the company that Jing Xiaolu had a big backer behind her. Everyone still had doubts. After all, it was a rumor. It couldn't be proven. However, since Yang Ming sat next to Jing Xiaolu at the company's inaugural meeting, those rumors became the truth. Although Yang Ming didn't say anything publicly, he didn't say anything about his relationship with Jing Xiaolu. Even Jing Xiaolu didn't say anything. However, people were like this. The more silent the person involved was, the more everyone believed that this was the case. If this wasn't the case, why were you silent? Didn't you come out to explain earlier? Yang Ming was the company's chairman. It was rumored that he had that kind of relationship with the subordinate vice president. If he didn't have that kind of relationship and wasn't afraid of being spread, he would definitely come forward to clarify these. After all, if there was no such relationship, and there were still rumors, it would create a situation where the vice president's power was greater than the president's power. How could Bao Sanli tolerate this kind of thing? However, Bao Sanli kept silent, which showed that this matter was true. Because Yang Ming didn't usually appear in the company, he had always had a very mysterious image. Many employees saw that Yang Ming was so young, and they all guessed whether Yang Ming was a rich second generation or an official's son. After all, Yang Ming had such a large-scale company at such a young age. He could also make Songjiang celebrities Bao Sanli and Ho Jinhan work for him. Moreover, the security company had a close relationship with the city police station. This wasn't something that could be done with a poor background. Therefore, most people thought that Yang Ming was a rich second generation or an official's son under the shadow of his father. Only this could explain the current situation. If Yang Ming wanted to know what these people thought, he could only smile bitterly. I'm a rich second generation. An official's son. I'm a poor second generation. All of this seemed unusual. In fact, it was the result of Yang Ming's own life. However, Yang Ming had an advantage over everyone. Yang Ming got a pair of magical glasses, but others didn't. After yesterday's press conference, Sun Jie's words confirmed the thoughts of these people. Because these employees, whether Ming Yang Entertainment or Ming Yang Security, knew that the two companies were brothers. The behind-the-scenes boss was actually one. However, they didn't know that the famous Ming Yang heavy industry in the province was also a member of the Ming Yang Group's family. Some good believers went back to the internet and found that the legal person of Ming Yang heavy industry was actually Yang Dehai. When they dug deeper, they found that Yang Dehai was actually the father of the chairman, Yang Ming. Therefore, it was confirmed that Yang Ming was a rich second generation. His father had such a big company, so it wasn't a big deal for his son to open these two companies. As for the chairman in Sun Jie's mouth, it must be Yang Ming's father. Since Sun Jie said that she was the chairman's assistant, they had never seen Sun Jie appear in the company. Therefore, Sun Jie should be the person around Yang Ming's father. Some of the employees who wanted to greet Yang Ming saw that Yang Ming didn't look sideways, so they retreated. Especially when they saw Yang Ming and Jing Xiaolu walking together, they didn't dare to disturb them. If they disturbed the chairman's good deed, they would be the ones to suffer in the end. Not to mention Yang Ming, even if Jing Xiaolu made things difficult for them, they couldn't stand it. What's wrong with you employees? Why didn't they greet you when they saw you? Why did they hide aside? In the elevator, Yang Ming frowned and asked. My employees? Aren't they all your employees? Jing Xiaolu snorted. You are here. How would they dare to come up and greet you? You, the chairman, usually don't appear in the company. When you appear occasionally, you are with me. Who dares to disturb you? After listening to Jing Xiaolu's words, Yang Ming didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Are you afraid of ruining our good deed? What do you think? Jing Xiaolu asked. Well, I didn't ask. Yang Ming shook his head. Right, what happened to Lu Xiaolei? Is there any inside story? I always feel that there is something wrong with this matter. Originally, Yang Ming knew that he didn't have much time with his family and friends. After Sun Jia handled the Ming Jiang Company's matter, he didn't ask for the specific details. But now that the person involved, Lu Xiaolei, was dead, and Yang Ming happened to know about it, Yang Ming had to care about it. Inside story. Actually, I'm just guessing. Jing Xiaolu thought about it, organized her words, and said, Lu Huamei and I both suspect that the mastermind behind this matter is related to the Jiangyan Group's vice president, Lu Zhenan. Even if he didn't do it, he should be the one who ordered it. In short, he is very suspicious. Lu Huamei? Lu Zhenan? Yang Ming repeated these two names. Lu Huamei is the Jiangyan Group's vice president who represents the Jiangyan Group in the Ming Jiang Escort Company. She is Lu Zhenan's cousin, Jing Xiaolu explained. Oh, I remember. She is the girl who sat next to you at the press conference that day. Yang Ming frowned. So young? I thought she was your secretary. When Yang Ming turned on the TV, it was already Sun Jia's turn to speak. So, he didn't hear what Lu Huamei said before and didn't know her identity. Aren't you and I the same age? Jing Xiaolu didn't agree with Yang Ming's words. Sister Huamei is actually very powerful. Many of Ming Jiang's management systems were set by her. She was also the one who negotiated with the bank. If the management systems were set up well, how could such a thing happen? Yang Ming didn't agree with Lu Huamei. The so-called genius girl was just a halo created by her family's environment. There were very few geniuses who left the shadow of the family. It was said that one could enjoy the shade under a big tree. As long as the descendants had a little bit of business acumen, they would be able to do well. However, if they were asked to start a business in a poor state, no matter how many geniuses there were, they would still be done for. Of course, this didn't rule out the existence of geniuses who could establish a business empire in a poor state. However, such people were very rare. Otherwise, there wouldn't be any poor people in this world. Didn't I say before that Lu Zhenan was most likely the one behind this? But we don't have any evidence. We only suspected him because Lu Zhenan had a deep conflict with Sister Huamei. That's why we thought of him at the first possible moment. Since we don't have evidence, we can't prove that Lu Zhenan did it. Yang Ming didn't have a good impression of Lu Huamei and Lu Zhenan. That's why he said faintly, it's best if we don't get involved in the Lu family's conflict. He wouldn't help either side, nor would he be biased. If Yang Ming really treated Lu Huamei as one of his own, then suspicion would be enough. This was because Yang Ming rarely relied on evidence. What was evidence? Yang Ming wasn't a judge. Why would he need evidence? He could make a move as long as he was certain. There was no other reason. It was the law of the jungle. Who asked you to be weaker than me? If Elder Yu appeared in front of me, he would also make a move on me without any reason. Yang Ming, Sister Huamei is a very good person. Jing Xiaolu heard Yang Ming's tone and knew that Yang Ming wasn't very fond of Lu Huamei. She quickly explained, back then, Brother Bao and I were tricked by Lu Zhenan's people because of the contract. It was Sister Hua Mei who presented evidence at the Jiangyan Group's board meeting and made the Lu family's old man agree to change the contract. Oh. So you're saying that Lu Hua Mei is a traitor? Yang Ming asked strangely after hearing Jing Xiaolu's words. A traitor. Of course, you can't say that. Jing Xiaolu broke off a sweat. Jing Xiaolu broke into a sweat. Sister Hua Mei is a sincere and fair person because she understood the truth of the matter. She knew that Lu Zhenan's people tricked us, so she helped us. She always believed that a company can only last long if it is honest, not deceitful. Then I misunderstood her. Yang Ming's impression of Lu Hua Mei changed a little after hearing Jing Xiaolu's words. Tell me about the conflict between her and Lu Zhenan. Chapter 1620. The old man of the Jiangyan group, Lu Jiangyan, has 3 sons. The eldest son, Lu Hang, the second son, Lu Yan, and the third son, Lu Hua. However, the person at the helm of the Jiangyan group is the third son, Lu Hua. The eldest son, Lu Hang, had a car accident in his early years. He is still lying in the hospital in a coma. He is no different from being dead. However, the Lu family doesn't lack medical fees. Lu Hang has a daughter, Sister Hua Mei. She used to sit in the position of financial director in the Jiangyan group. She controlled the financial power of the group, which was equivalent to controlling the economic lifeline of the group. It was also at this time that she began to have conflicts with Lu Zhenan. However, Lu Zhenan is now the deputy financial director. Although Sister Hua Mei is still the financial director, being sent to Songjiang is basically equivalent to being a figurehead. All the financial power of the company is in the hands of Lu Zhenan. Jing Xiaolu talked about the Lu family in one breath. Jing Xiaolu had already investigated these things before cooperating with the Jiangyan group. I don't know what the old man of the Lu family is thinking. He kicked out such an excellent person like Sister Hua Mei and let a hypocrite sit in the position of the deputy president. Oh. So, Lu Zhenan is in charge of the Lu family now? Yang Ming smiled noncommittally after listening. Since Lu Jiangyan can create such a big family business, it means that Lu Jiangyan is not a fool. What do you think he is thinking? Maybe he is old and confused. Jing Xiaolu's dislike of Lu Jiangyan was deeper than Yang Ming's. So, no matter what Yang Ming said, she felt that Lu Jiangyan was wrong. Let him be. It's their Lu family's business anyway. Whether his family business is ruined or prosperous, it has nothing to do with us. Yang Ming shrugged and said. Right, I haven't finished talking about the Lu family. Lu Jiangyan's second son, Lu Yan, had polio when he was young. Now, he can only sit in a wheelchair. He has never had a family. He can only control the affairs of the group behind the scenes. He can't go on stage, so his right to speak is not very big. In this way, the current power of the Lu family fell on Lu Hua. Lu Hua has 2 sons. His eldest son is Lu Zhenan, and his younger son is Lu Zhiqiao. One is the executive vice president of the company, and the other is the head of the human resources department. It can be said that they occupy 2 important positions in the company. Jing Xiaolu said, however, judging from the current situation, Lu Zhiqiao is no longer Lu Zhenan's opponent. His performance is mediocre. He probably doesn't want to compete for anything. Yang Ming smiled faintly after hearing Jing Xiaolu's words. But under this kind of appearance, there was often a deeper layer of existence. A silent dog was the most vicious when it bit people. Speaking of this, the elevator stopped on the floor of the company's secretary department. Yang Ming and Jing Xiaolu got off the elevator together and walked towards the secretary department. It was only 7 in the morning, not 8 yet, so there weren't many people in the company. However, the secretary department was the manager of the entire company. Whether it was serving tea or running documents, it was all done by the people in the secretary department. Therefore, someone from the secretary department had already arrived. Xiao Wang, do you have a fax? Jing Xiaolu pushed open the door of the secretary's office and asked a girl wearing glasses who was sorting out documents inside. Vice President Jing. Ah. Director Yang, you are here. Xiao Wang looked up and saw Yang Ming next to Jing Xiaolu. She was shocked and quickly greeted, "Hello, Director Yang." With Xiao Wang's greeting, the other people in the office also put down the things in their hands and stood up respectfully. They all called Director Yang, which made Yang Ming a little embarrassed. He quickly waved his hand. "You guys continue with your work." After everyone listened to Yang Ming's words, they carefully sat back in their seats and continued the work in their hands. "Xiao Wang, I asked for your fax." Jing Xiaolu saw that Xiao Wang was still standing there in a daze, so she asked again. "Ah, Vice President Jing, I'm sorry. I was a little distracted just now." Xiao Wang said embarrassedly, "Fax, yes, there are a few copies. Which one do you want?" As Xiao Wang spoke, she took a few pages from the fax machine and handed them to Jing Xiaolu. After Jing Xiaolu took the fax, she handed it to Yang Ming. Yang Ming flipped through it and took out a portrait. He returned the rest to Xiao Wang. "Thank you, but I don't need these." "Ah. You're welcome." Xiao Wang heard Yang Ming thanking her and was a little scared. She took the fax and quickly said, "Let's go to your office." Yang Ming didn't say anything else and turned to Jing Xiaolu. "Okay." Jing Xiaolu was a little curious about what the so-called clue in Yang Ming's hand was. She vaguely saw that it looked like a portrait, but it wasn't appropriate to ask too much here. Jing Xiaolu's office was on the top floor of the office building. After taking the elevator up, Jing Xiaolu opened the office door and said to Yang Ming, "Take a seat first. I'll do a quick cleaning. I've been in the Mingjiang office building nearby for a while. I haven't been back to this office for a while, so I didn't ask anyone to clean it every day." As she spoke, Jing Xiaolu ran in the direction of the washroom. Jing Xiaolu's office was a standard suite with a lounge and washroom. In the company, only a few vice presidents had such treatment. Yang Ming wasn't a person who enjoyed life. Seeing that Jing Xiaolu was busy, Yang Ming didn't want to sit there like a big boss. Hence, he stood up and walked to the washroom. When he entered the washroom, Yang Ming didn't think much. He pushed the door open and found that the door lock was locked. Hence, he pressed the doorknob and walked in. In the end, he heard Jing Xiaolu scream. Yang Ming subconsciously lowered his head and saw a scene that he shouldn't have seen. Jing Xiaolu was sitting on the toilet, and her pants were down to her feet. When he listened carefully, he heard the sound of water. Yang Ming was a little dumbfounded. Why didn't Jing Xiaolu lock the door when she went to the washroom? Jing Xiaolu was also a little dumbfounded. After she subconsciously screamed, she didn't know what to do. She wanted to pull up her pants, but her physiological problem hadn't been solved yet. How could she just stop? Wouldn't she pee her pants? But if she continued like this? Thinking of this, Jing Xiaolu couldn't help but lower her head. She buried her face so low that it almost went into the toilet bowl. I didn't see anything." At this time, Yang Ming also recovered and stuttered as he explained. "Oh." Jing Xiaolu was so embarrassed. "I really didn't see anything." "From this angle, you can't see anything." As Yang Ming said this, his heartbeat unconsciously accelerated. He almost couldn't help but use his special ability to take a peek. It's fine even if you see." Jing Xiaolu wanted to say, "That's fine." But when the words came to her mouth, it became, "It's fine even if you see." After saying this, Jing Xiaolu's face was a little hot. What am I doing? Isn't this equivalent to seducing Yang Ming? However, Jing Xiaolu thought about it again. She was pursuing Yang Ming, so this wasn't something to hide. Ugh. After Yang Ming listened to Jing Xiaolu's words, the thoughts that he had just suppressed were stirred up again. He thought, this Jing Xiaolu is really harmful. How can she say this? Why don't I just take a look? Thinking of this, Yang Ming's eyes began to look down. As a result, what he saw was a blur. The light was too bad. He really couldn't see anything. Why don't I use my special ability? Chapter 1621. Although Jing Xiaolu didn't look up, she also noticed Yang Ming's passionate gaze, which made Jing Xiaolu lower her head. In the past, when she was polite to Yang Ming, she always looked forward to the day when she could have some small ambiguous things with Yang Ming to improve their relationship. Jing Xiaolu always complained that God didn't help her. Why wasn't there a suitable opportunity? When she heard Chen Mengyan, Lin Jiyun, and Zhou Jiejie chatting and joking, they occasionally mentioned Yang Ming and Zhou Jiejie's kiss and the resort's water pipe burst incident. While Jing Xiaolu felt funny, she was also very envious. Why didn't this kind of thing happen to me? Of course, this kind of thing could only be effective if it happened by chance. If it was deliberately arranged, it would lose its meaning. Jing Xiaolu was not willing to do that. Although she could deliberately create something, Yang Ming didn't like this kind of girl who was always scheming. Jing Xiaolu also believed that Yang Ming wasn't stupid. Even if she hid it well, Yang Ming would find a flaw. However, when this moment really came, Jing Xiaolu was really at a loss. Moreover, it was at such an awkward moment when Yang Ming saw her peeing. It was really bad luck. Jing Xiaolu would rather change it to a kiss or a water pipe burst. Yang Ming was actually very nervous at this time. His special ability had an effect unconsciously, and he inadvertently heard Jing Xiaolu's thoughts. Originally, Yang Ming was still having a fierce struggle in his heart. Should I look or not? However, when he inadvertently saw Jing Xiaolu's true thoughts, the bad thoughts in Yang Ming's heart suddenly disappeared. In the face of such a cautious and shy girl, Yang Ming really couldn't bring up those bad thoughts. At this moment, Jing Xiaolu was actually thinking about the gains and losses of their relationship progress. While Yang Ming was moved, he deeply despised himself for taking advantage of her. After knowing Jing Xiaolu's thoughts, Yang Ming knew that even if he was peeping, Jing Xiaolu wouldn't say anything, but Yang Ming couldn't do this. Thinking about how he suddenly had such a despicable thought just now, Yang Ming was really blushing. I originally wanted to come in and help you, but who would have thought that you would come in to pee? Yang Ming calmed down the impure thoughts in his heart and explained, and, you didn't lock the door, how would I know that you would come in? Jing Xiaolu said with some grievances, moreover, I also hung the door, but it wasn't locked. Yang Ming thought about it. Previously, the bathroom door was indeed hung. He couldn't push it open, so he directly pressed the doorknob to open the door. Yang Ming said, besides, I thought you would come in, STTS. Yang Ming said in his heart, you didn't tell me that you were going to pee. Jing Xiaolu saw Yang Ming standing there stupidly when he came in. In order to break the awkwardness, she said this. Oh, okay. Yang Ming looked around in the bathroom, then picked up the mop, turned on the water, and went out of the bathroom to mop the floor. Yang Ming used to do this kind of work when he was at home, so naturally, he was familiar with it. Jing Xiaolu washed the rag and then followed Yang Ming out to wipe the tables and chairs. If the company's employees came over at this time, they would probably be very surprised. The chairman and vice president of the company actually worked as cleaners here. However, I'm afraid that more people would think that maybe this is a way for lovers to improve their relationship. Because of what happened just now, the two didn't talk to each other when they were cleaning until they were done. They returned to the brand new office from the bathroom and sat on the sofa. Cough cough. Let's talk about business now. Yang Ming also felt that the atmosphere was a bit uncomfortable. When he saw Jing Xiaolu, the scene just now unconsciously appeared in his mind. There seemed to be the sound of water in his ears, which made Yang Ming have a feeling of boiling blood. He couldn't help but want to lower his head and use his special ability to peek through Jing Xiaolu's clothes to see what was going on. Jing Xiaolu was actually very nervous. She was a little worried. After this, did the relationship between Yang Ming and her get better, or did it become more distant because of embarrassment? Take a look at this portrait. Yang Ming passed the portrait that Pu Dainyu faxed to him to Jing Xiaolu. I have a friend who works as a smuggler. He runs a smuggling business in Bianhai City. Through him, I already know that after Lu Xiaolei escaped, he found this friend of mine with another man. They wanted to smuggle into Russia. However, on the smuggling boat, this man shot Lu Xiaolei to death and threw Lu Xiaolei's body into the sea. Then, this person returned to Bianhai City and disappeared after that. Yang Ming briefly introduced the identity of the man in the portrait to Jing Xiaolu. When it came to business, Yang Ming's tone also became serious. The previous embarrassment and anger also lessened a lot. Chapter 1622. Jing Xiaolu was relieved when she saw that Yang Ming did not deliberately alienate her because of the incident just now. It seemed that even if the incident just now could not improve their relationship, at least it would not cause any impact. Thinking of this, Jing Xiaolu also recovered her usual competence. Lu Xiaolei is dead? When she heard Yang Ming's words, Jing Xiaolu was stunned. Jing Xiaolu did not know that Lu Xiaolei was dead. This matter was only known by the local tyrant Pu Dainyu at the Bianhai City dock and the Bianhai City police. Because of Xia Bingbao's intervention, the Bianhai City police did not announce this matter. Who knew what the nature of the case taken over by the Supernatural Investigation Bureau was? The things handled by this department were generally confidential. Without Xia Bingbao's clear explanation, the Bianhai City police could not simply announce it, even if this person was wanted by the Songjiang police. He is already dead. Yang Ming nodded and was a little surprised. Why? The news hasn't come out yet? Not yet. Jing Xiaolu shook her head. It stands to reason that if this matter is true, then the Songjiang police will inform us immediately. There is no way to hide anything, right? Everyone knows that you are the son-in-law of the bureau chief. What does this have to do with the son-in-law of the bureau chief? Yang Ming was a little dumbfounded. I probably guessed the reason why this matter was not publicized. When Yang Ming heard that Jing Xiaolu still did not know the news, he vaguely guessed something. It must be because of Xia Bingbao that this matter was blocked. Oh. What is the reason? Jing Xiaolu asked curiously. I asked a friend of mine. He is from a mysterious agency in the country. He is an agent. Yang Ming did not hide it. He had to tell Jing Xiaolu that he belonged to this department sooner or later, so he might as well reveal some in advance. So, with their intervention, the Bianhai City police will naturally not announce the news. What kind of agency is this? It is actually so powerful? Jing Xiaolu was a girl who worshipped power. She was naturally envious when she heard about such a powerful agency. It's true that they're powerful. However, the missions they carry out are also very dangerous. People will die, Yang Ming said with a bitter smile. I see. Jing Xiaolu shuddered when she heard that someone would die. She didn't ask any more questions. He lowered his head and began to carefully read the facts that Yang Ming handed to him. How is it? Do you have any impression of it? Have you seen this person before? Does this person have anything to do with Mingjiang? Yang Ming reminded. This person. Jing Xiaolu frowned. Why do I feel that he looks familiar? Familiar? Yang Ming was overjoyed. That is to say, you have seen this person before? I should have seen it before, but I don't know where I have seen it. Let me think about it. Jing Xiaolu closed her eyes and fell into deep thought. Sometimes, she opened her eyes and stared at the portrait without blinking. This portrait also had a rough outline of the person. Pu Dainyu didn't pay attention to this person's appearance at that time. His subordinates also couldn't see clearly because it was dark. Therefore, even if the impression of the two people was combined, it might not be very clear. No matter how good the artist was, they could only draw according to the descriptions of the two people. It was already very difficult to draw such an outline. Yang Ming didn't rush her. He sat at the side and quietly waited for Jing Xiaolu's answer. This person, I feel a sense of familiarity. I should have seen him before, but because the portrait isn't very detailed, I can't identify him at the moment. Jing Xiaolu sighed and said, I can be sure that this person is definitely not someone I am familiar with. If it was someone I am familiar with, I should be able to remember it very quickly. Then it's someone you are not familiar with. Maybe you have only seen him once or twice? Yang Ming asked. It's possible, so he's not someone from Mingjiang Company. Jing Xiaolu nodded, but I don't usually interact with Lu Xiaolei, and we haven't talked much. The management in the company is mainly done by Sister Huamei. If this person is Lu Xiaolei's friend, I definitely won't have any impression of him. Therefore, I can basically be sure that this person is someone I have seen, and not someone around Lu Xiaolei. Oh. So, you have seen this person on other occasions? Yang Ming heard Jing Xiaolu's words and immediately became suspicious. Yang Ming's initial guess was that this person should have business dealings with Mingjiang or be Lu Xiaolei's friend. However, according to Jing Xiaolu's words, this possibility was denied. Could it be someone from the Jiangyan group? Yang Ming asked. I can't be sure about this. Jing Xiaolu didn't know many people in the Jiangyan group. Why don't I call Sister Huamei over and ask her to take a look? Lu Huamei? That's fine. Where is she? Is it convenient for her to come over? Asked Yang Ming. She's in the office building next door. Mingjiang is next to here. I bought the building next door, said Jing Xiaolu as she picked up the phone and dialed Lu Huamei's phone number. Lu Huamei was currently sitting in the office dealing with the company's matters. Lu Huamei's mood had been very gloomy recently. Although the company had survived the disaster, and the daily business had returned to normal, the bank account of the missing money had not been recovered. However, they still hadn't found the lost 100 million yuan in the bank. Even though the Mingyang Group and the Jiangyan Group each took a portion of the money and paid for it first, this whole still pressured Lu Huamei so much that she couldn't breathe. Especially since the incident had happened for so long. Her grandfather, who used to dote on her, hadn't called back. This made Lu Huamei a little sad. Was she really abandoned? A phone rang. Lu Huamei glanced at the caller ID and picked up the phone. Xiaolu, what's the matter? Why aren't you calling the company's internal line? Sister Huamei, I'm at the Mingyang Security Company now. Are you free now? Asked Jing Xiaolu. I have some clues about Lu Xiaolei's case here. Can you come over? Oh. You have clues about Lu Xiaolei's case? Then wait for me. I'll be right there. Lu Huamei immediately perked up when she heard that there were clues about Lu Xiaolei's case. She quickly put down the things in her hands and said, I'm at the vice president's office on the top floor of Mingyang, said Jing Xiaolu. I know, said Lu Huamei, wait for me. After Lu Huamei hung up the phone, Jing Xiaolu said to Yang Ming, Sister Huamei said that she'll be right there. Yang Ming nodded. However, the atmosphere between the two became a little awkward again because they had nothing to do while waiting for Lu Huamei to come over. The two of them unconsciously thought of the previous incident again. Jing Xiaolu lowered her head and didn't dare to look at Yang Ming again. Things were often like this. When there was something to do, they would forget the previous awkwardness at the same time. Once the matter was done, they would think of the awkwardness between them again. Xiaolu, don't mind that. Yang Ming had to force himself to say in order to ease the atmosphere, actually, with our current relationship, what happened just now is nothing. Then, what is our relationship? Asked Jing Xiaolu as she was moved by Yang Ming's words. This, relationship. Yang Ming was confused by Jing Xiaolu's question. Yang Ming just said that to ease the atmosphere. In fact, everyone knew the relationship between these two people. It could only be understood but not explained. If they really wanted to say it out loud, they couldn't say it out loud. Why? You have nothing to say? Jing Xiaolu couldn't help but laugh when she saw Yang Ming's embarrassed look. it's not that I have nothing to say. It's just that this relationship. Yang Ming couldn't find any suitable words to explain. It's fine as long as you and I understand in our hearts, N. Jing Xiaolu just asked on a whim. She didn't really want Yang Ming to say anything. On the contrary, Jing Xiaolu enjoyed this wonderful feeling very much. So she nodded obediently and responded softly. Yang Ming also felt a little impulsive when he felt Jing Xiaolu's gentleness. He couldn't help but gently grab Jing Xiaolu's hand. The office door was pushed open. Lu Huamei ran in hurriedly. Xiaolu, what clues? Lu Huamei didn't bother to knock on the door because she was thinking about the clues of Lu Xiaolei's case. She didn't know that there were other people in Jing Xiaolu's office. Jing Xiaolu didn't tell her beforehand. As a result, she saw such an awkward scene when she pushed the door open. Yang Ming was holding Jing Xiaolu's hand. Chapter 1623. Yang Ming was shocked. He thought to himself, why is this company's employee so unruly? She entered without knocking and even called Jing Xiaolu's name. What kind of management is this? Shouldn't we have a meeting to discuss this? Yang Ming subconsciously let go of Jing Xiaolu's hand and looked at the person with a gloomy expression. However, Yang Ming couldn't help but frown when he saw the person's appearance. The person who came was Lu Huamei. Yang Ming had seen her on TV once. Yang Ming didn't have a good impression of her. Now that she did this, his impression of her was even worse. He said indifferently, "Don't you know how to knock before entering?" "I'm sorry, I didn't see anything." Lu Huamei was also a little apologetic. She didn't expect that there would be someone else in Jing Xiaolu's office. Otherwise, she would have knocked instead of barging in. Lu Huamei covered her eyes and retreated out of the door as she spoke. Although Lu Huamei hadn't seen what Yang Ming looked like, he was probably the only man who could be so intimate with Jing Xiaolu. Lu Huamei couldn't help but blush when she thought of how Sun Jie had teased her and Yang Ming. Yang Ming couldn't help but be amused when he saw Lu Huamei retreating out of the door with a red face and heard what she said. The anger in his heart had mostly dissipated. "I didn't expect this Lu Huamei to be so interesting." "Forget it. You can come in." Yang Ming naturally couldn't get angry anymore, so he could only say gloomily. Jing Xiaolu was also gnashing her teeth in hatred. Yang Ming finally took the initiative for once, but it was ruined by Lu Huamei. Why am I so unlucky? However, she had a good relationship with Lu Huamei, and she wouldn't get angry like Yang Ming. She could only admit that she was unlucky. "Oh. I'm really sorry." Lu Huamei also knew that it was very immoral to ruin other people's good time. Moreover, this was her fault. Who asked her to not knock? Moreover, Jing Xiaolu was flirting with Yang Ming in the Ming Yang company. It was her own company, so it had nothing to do with him. "It's okay." Yang Ming shook his head. "You're Lu Huamei, right?" "I'm Yang Ming." Yang Ming stood up and extended his hand to Lu Huamei. Yang Ming didn't have a good impression of Lu Huamei before. However, now that he saw Lu Huamei in person, he realized that Lu Huamei was just a little girl. Especially when Lu Huamei apologized just now. That helpless look in her eyes made Yang Ming unable to blame her anymore. "Hello, I've heard a lot about you." Lu Huamei blushed. Although she was a little embarrassed and was still thinking about Sun Jie's teasing of her, she still generously shook hands with Yang Ming. However, her palms were sweaty. Yang Ming felt a little strange as he held a wet hand. Why does Lu Huamei sweat so easily? It's not summer yet, right? Why are her hands so hot in such a cold day? Could it be that she caught a cold and had a fever? Thinking of this, Yang Ming couldn't help but ask with concern, "I see that your hands are very hot. Did you catch a cold?" This was also because Lu Huamei had changed Yang Ming's impression of her. Otherwise, Yang Ming wouldn't have cared if she was dead or alive. He wouldn't have reminded her at all. "Ah. cold. Lu Huamei also realized that her palms were sweaty. She was a little embarrassed. Why am I so nervous? It's not like I haven't shaken hands with a man before. Why am I acting like a little girl? Maybe it's a little, Sister Huamei. Are you sick? Jing Xiaolu listened to the conversation between Yang Ming and Lu Huamei. She said with concern, "It's no wonder. You've been worrying about the company for a while. You'll get sick sooner or later if this goes on." Although the person in charge of the company was Jing Xiaolu and Lu Huamei, Jing Xiaolu and Lu Huamei both knew their own business. Although the Ming Yang Group and the Jiangyan Group both took out money to fill the hole of the missing debt, the attitude of both parties could be seen by anyone. Ming Yang took the money with an indifferent attitude. Yang Ming also didn't intend to hold Jing Xiaolu responsible. So, since Yang Ming had such an attitude, who else would bother? Would it be Bao Sanli or Ho Jinhan? The two of them didn't have such a big bill. However, Lu Huamei's situation was different. The Jiangyan Group also took the money, but their attitude wasn't very good. Although the money was in place, Lu Jinan's hypocritical smile and her grandfather's indifference made Lu Huamei feel very uncomfortable. She felt like she was abandoned by the Lu family. "It's nothing." Lu Huamei shook her head. Jing Xiaolu really guessed wrong this time. Lu Huamei's nervousness was only because of Sun Jie's joke. "Let's look at the clues first." "Yeah, I almost forgot about the proper business." Jing Xiaolu patted her forehead and handed a fax document to Lu Huamei. She said, "It's like this." "Ugh. Can I say it?" Jing Xiaolu suddenly remembered that Yang Ming mentioned that a mysterious agency before. This should be something confidential, so Jing Xiaolu looked at Yang Ming halfway and asked for Yang Ming's opinion. "Why don't you tell her briefly?" Yang Ming nodded, but hinted to Jing Xiaolu to say it briefly and omit the things that should be omitted. Jing Xiaolu naturally understood Yang Ming's meaning. She nodded gently to show that she understood, and said to Lu Huamei, "Sister Huamei, Lu Xiaolei is dead." "What? Lu Xiaolei is dead?" Lu Huamei's initial reaction when she heard the news was similar to Jing Xiaolu's. She was extremely shocked. "Yes, he's dead. His body was found at the pier in Bianhai City." Jing Xiaolu didn't doubt Yang Ming's words at all. So, if Yang Ming said that he was dead, then he must be dead. How is this possible? Lu Huamei widened her eyes. How could Lu Xiaolei be dead? Naturally, he was killed by someone, Jing Xiaolu said. Yang Ming has a friend in the Bianhai City police station. He knew about this news in advance. I know people in the police station too. Why didn't I receive any news? Lu Huamei was still a little puzzled. The Jiangyan Group also invested in the escort company in Bianhai City, so they had a very good relationship with the police in Bianhai City. However, Lu Huamei didn't receive any news at all. That was why she doubted the authenticity of this matter. The news has been blocked. It's normal that you didn't receive any news. Yang Ming knew that he had to speak at this time. Jing Xiaolu couldn't explain it anymore. My friend's identity is a little special. He's the local tyrant at the pier in Bianhai City. Lu Xiaolei looked for him when he was smuggling, so I received the news. So that's how it is. Lu Huamei could only choose to believe Yang Ming after hearing Yang Ming's words. So he wanted to smuggle. Yes, there was another man who was smuggling with him. It was the man in the fax portrait, Jing Xiaolu said. He was the one who pushed Lu Xiaolei's body into the sea after killing him. Oh. So, Mr. Yang's friend saw this murder with his own eyes? Then why didn't he call the police? Lu Huamei couldn't help but say when she heard this. If he had called the police, wouldn't we have saved a lot of trouble? Jing Xiaolu didn't know whether to laugh or cry after hearing Lu Huamei's words. I say, Sister Huamei, can you not be so idealistic? Yang Ming's friend is a tyrant in the smuggling business. It's normal for stowaways to kill each other. Why would he call the police? Would he tell the police that I helped others smuggle, and then one of the stowaways killed another stowaway? Then, who would be the first person the police would arrest? This. Lu Huamei couldn't help but blush. She usually didn't come into contact with people of this level, so she couldn't help but be a little idealistic. She only realized that her question was a little silly after hearing Jing Xiaolu's explanation. Yang Ming didn't laugh at Lu Huamei's words. After all, it was impossible for the so-called genius girl to know everything. There would always be a weak side to her. A girl like her who was born in a rich family would never be able to understand people at that level. Therefore, she naturally wouldn't be clear about some of the rules at that level. Okay, Miss Lu, I believe you also understand the nature of the industry my friend is in. Yang Ming said with a smile. You definitely won't come into contact with this kind of illegal industry. He didn't know Lu Xiaolei's identity at first. He only remembered such a person after I called him. Now, look at this portrait. Do you know the person who shot Lu Xiaolei? Is he someone from the Jiangyan group? Okay, let me see. Lu Huamei blushed a little. She was called a genius girl by many people, but now she looked like an ignorant girl in front of Yang Ming. This made Lu Huamei feel a little embarrassed. Chapter 1624. Fortunately, Yang Ming was very understanding about this matter and didn't ask too much about it. This made Lu Huamei feel a little better. However, she also decided that she would cram some common sense in this area when she went back this time. She couldn't let others mock her anymore. However, Lu Huamei was indeed a lady from a noble family. She had been the deputy director of finance for a while and held a high position. She quickly forgot her previous awkwardness and regained her elegant posture. Mr. Yang, I can be sure that this person isn't from the Jiangyan group. At least, he isn't a high-ranking person in the Jiangyan group, said Lu Huamei. After all, the Jiangyan group has more than thousands of employees. It's impossible for me to know everyone, but he definitely isn't from the group's headquarters. Oh. Sister Huamei, don't you think this person is a little familiar? Asked Jing Xiaolu in surprise after hearing Lu Huamei's words. Even she felt that this person was very familiar. Why didn't Lu Huamei have this feeling? Familiar? Lu Huamei frowned and looked at the portrait carefully for a long time. Then, she shook her head. I don't feel familiar. I really haven't seen him before. Isn't this person by Lu Zhenan's side? Jing Xiaolu was slightly disappointed after hearing Lu Huamei's words. Did I feel wrong? However, she still asked a little unwillingly. I haven't seen anyone by my big brother's side other than Lu Jifei. Lu Huamei shook her head again. However, I think my big brother asked Lu Jifei to do a lot of things. Even if this person is related to my big brother, it should be through Lu Jifei. They won't contact each other publicly. Ah! Jing Xiaolu suddenly exclaimed. She patted her forehead and said with joy, I remember now. I know who this person is. What? Xiaolu, you know who this person is? Asked Yang Ming and Lu Huamei in unison as they looked at Jing Xiaolu in surprise. After saying that, Lu Huamei and Yang Ming were stunned at the same time. They looked at each other and smiled knowingly. Both of them actually said the same thing at the same time. What a coincidence. Sister Huamei, you reminded me just now. I suddenly remembered. This person is indeed Lu Jifei's subordinate. I've seen him before. Jing Xiaolu finished speaking and turned to look at Yang Ming. Yang Ming. You should have seen him too. It was that night in school. Lu Jifei brought someone to trouble me. Oh, you're talking about that Li Zhan. Yang. Li. That after Jing Xiaolu finished speaking, she turned to look at Lu Huamei. She saw that Lu Huamei was sitting there in a daze. She quickly asked, Sister Huamei, what's wrong with you? Nothing. Lu Huamei came back to her senses and sighed slightly. Although she had suspected that her elder brother, Lu Zhenan, might be involved in this matter. Guessing was one thing, and confirming it was another. Although the siblings had not been fighting openly and covertly, they had always been at each other's throats. However, they had never done anything out of line. This time, Lu Jianan did not hesitate to hire assassins to achieve his goal in order to frame her. He had simply lost his most basic humanity and turned into a devil. Miss Lu, this is related to your family's affairs. I can't say much. I hope you can handle it properly. Yang Ming originally wanted to find trouble with Lu Jianan directly. It was only a matter of minutes for Yang Ming to destroy a mere Lu Jianan. Even if it was the Jiangyan group, it would not be difficult for Yang Ming to make it cease to exist. However, taking into account Lu Huamei's feelings and face, Yang Ming decided to let Lu Huamei handle it herself. After all, he was an outsider. Thank you. I understand. Lu Huamei wasn't stupid, Mr. Yang, don't worry. I've confirmed that my elder brother did this. I'll bear all the losses and won't bring trouble to the company. If you need any help, don't hesitate. I can more or less help. Yang Ming saw that Lu Huamei was so straightforward. His impression of her improved a lot. Okay, thank you very much. Lu Huamei nodded at Yang Ming. Although she said it with a smile, anyone could see the bitterness in her smile. Every family had its own problems. No one would feel good if they were framed by their cousin. Yang Ming did not ask her to stay any longer. Since we have confirmed this person's identity, I won't ask Miss Lu to stay any longer. I believe Miss Lu must have more important things to do. Let's have a meal together some other time. It's my treat. I should be the one treating, Lu Huamei said. But today, Mr. Yang is right. I have to go back to Jiangyan City. Xiaolu, I'll leave the company's affairs to you first. No problem, Sister Huamei. You can handle your affairs first. Jing Xiaolu nodded and agreed. After sending Lu Huamei away, Jing Xiaolu closed the door again. However, the ambiguous atmosphere from before was completely destroyed. Yang Ming was too embarrassed to continue touching Jing Xiaolu's hand. Xiaolu, what do you think of this matter? Yang Ming decided to ask Jing Xiaolu's opinion on how to deal with this matter. After all, he had handed over all the affairs of the Mingjiang escort company to Jing Xiaolu. Yang Ming did not want to interfere too much. My initial intention was to find evidence and submit it to the police, Jing Xiaolu said. Jing Xiaolu said, however, Sister Huamei is in the middle of this, so I can't be too heartless. Lu Jianan is Sister Huamei's cousin after all, so I want to let Sister Huamei make the decision. Okay, you have the final say in the company now. It's fine as long as you decide. Yang Ming nodded. During this last period of time, Yang Ming did not want to bother too much with these troublesome matters. It was more important to spend time with his family. Thank you. Jing Xiaolu blushed. She was secretly happy that Yang Ming had delegated and trusted her. What are you thanking me for? Yang Ming could not help but sigh. Xiaolu, I will transfer a portion of Ming Yang's shares to your name in a few days. Transfer them to my name? Jing Xiaolu was delighted when she heard Yang Ming's words, but then she felt that something was wrong. Why do you want to transfer them to my name? It's nothing. It's just a whim. Don't think too much about it. Yang Ming pretended to be relaxed and smiled. Why? Don't you want them? I want them. Of course, I want them. How can I not want them? Jing Xiaolu saw that Yang Ming's expression was very relaxed. It did not seem like there was anything wrong, so she quickly agreed. It was a good thing that Yang Ming was giving her shares. How could she not want them? However, she did not know why, but she still faintly felt that something was wrong in the depths of her heart. It was just that her happiness suppressed this trace of uneasiness. Yang Ming wanted to transfer a portion of his shares to Jing Xiaolu. In fact, it was not a whim. It was something that he had thought about before. Although Jing Xiaolu was not his woman, there was still some ambiguity between them. It could be said that they liked each other. Therefore, Yang Ming did not intend to treat her badly. Before Yang Ming went to Yunnan, Yang Ming planned to transfer the majority of Ming Yang Entertainment and Ming Yang Securities shares to Jing Xiaolu. The rest would be divided into 2 parts and transferred to Bao Sanli and Ho Zhenhan. You're tuning in to the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.